11:59 at Radio Free America, and this is Uncle Sam with music and the truth until dawn. Right now, I got a few words for some of our brothers and sisters in the occupied zone. The chair is against the wall. The chair is against the wall. John has a long mustache. John has a long mustache. It's 12 o'clock, Americans, another day closer to victory. And for all of you out there on or behind the lines, this is your song.
And welcome, everybody. It's been a couple of weeks. We were just talking about it. It's been actually a month almost, for maybe it has been a month since we've done a show. So they said we wouldn't be back, but here we are. So Tony's joining us from New Jersey. Thanks for jumping in.
Right, glad to be here.
And we were just kind of chatting, getting back to catching up here offline, and figured why not go live already. So man, you've been all over the place. I haven't done nothing, so I got a cop car, so that's about my news. But
Nice.
On your end, I think the last time we talked, we were going to SHOT Show, because I was just looking at I redo the thumbnail, and the last thumbnail was us talking about SHOT Show. So, and I'm thinking, right, that was like not even, because I think we were kind of thinking about doing the Saturday right before, but I was driving. It turned out I was driving. It's like I didn't know if I would be driving in the middle of the night or what. So I think we left it open. I don't know if you were traveling that day also or not. But then we chatted a little bit at SHOT Show. And then the Saturday after, same kind of thing. I think we left it up in the air because with the snow and everything, I don't even know if we talked about how you got home. But I ended up, I can't remember now. I think I drove during the day. I usually either drive during the day or during the night. Like I don't like driving in the morning or whatever. So I'll usually either hang out in Vegas and do stuff and then go home, or get up in the morning and drive real fast, get home quick as possible. I can't remember what I did this year, honestly. But either way, we didn't talk that day. And then the next week you were in, I think the next week you were in Pennsylvania. And then the next week you were in Florida, right? So you've been all over the place. And now it's this week. So, or wait, was there a week in between there I missed? Did you do something else?
Yeah, there was one week that I was just the week of the crazy snow there. I was just getting back on my feet, getting back to work.
Okay.
And then it was right to PA for Harrisburg and spent some time there. And the week after that, it was Florida. And I came back to yet another storm, almost just a repeat of post-shot. And had
Well,
to
I
move
didn't think
out.
about that, because the first one I heard about because everybody was at SHOT Show and it was taking like the whole country out. This recent one was like New York. I didn't think about it. You're right next to New York, so you probably get hit with that kind of. I mean, the weather don't care which side of the river.
Oh
Right?
yeah, baby. I was actually speaking in Florida to the Second Amendment Freedom Fest, ninth annual Second Amendment Freedom Fest, and we had Valentina with me. She's from Jersey, naturally armed. If you want to go check her out, and she, they canceled her flight. Now understand, the snow didn't come till Sunday night. They canceled her flight Saturday out of. They canceled her 5 p.m. flight Saturday and told her they wouldn't be able to get her out until freaking Thursday. Welcome to JetBlue, everyone. Meanwhile, I flew United, and they were like, "Hey, make sure you check in. If you want to sell, if some people want to get out early, so if you want to sell your ticket, give us a price." And they did air miles,
Oh,
and
interesting.
they were doing it because when I flew out a shot, they hit me with the same offer, and they were like, "Hey, with cash." And they were doing, I think it was 200, 400, 600. And
Whoa!
I
So they're
went,
like brokering a secondary market on the tickets that they sold you. So like, are the first people? So like, they sold people tickets, and then
mhm.
offered you the ability to sell them to people who would pay you a premium. And do they take a cut? They must take a cut, I suppose.
What they do is they give me, I think it's what making people happy that want to go. So they give me whatever if people want to bid it, and they book me on another flight.
And then give
So,
you miles on top of it.
well, they give me money. So the first
Oh,
one,
money.
right? The first one, the shot show, they were like, "How much you want? We'll fly you out." Now my flight, let's say, pulled out at 9 o'clock in the morning from Vegas. Excuse me, 9 o'clock at night from Vegas because I do red eyes back to Jersey. They were like, well, if you, and straight shot, right? Straight shot nonstop. And they were like, but if you sell your ticket, we'll give you this flight and it leaves at 11 and it's a nonstop. I'm like, 2 hours makes no difference to me. $2,000. You give me $2,000 and put me on the flight 2 hours later, I'll do it. Yeah, no takers. I'm like, all right.
Okay.
So then for this one, they were like air miles. And they were like, yeah, air miles, 5,000, 10,000. And I just wanted to see how high you could go. And, if you get a United credit card, they give you 80,000 miles. So I was like, 80,000 miles. Nobody would take it. I was like, all right. My whole thing is, I'm not being inconvenienced. But if you're going to inconvenience me, you're going to pay me.
Well,
You're
sure.
not
Yeah,
just going to
exactly.
give me yeah, you're not going to give me some small amount and I still have to pay for a ticket because I'm going to NRA in April. And I want my plane ticket paid for.
So, but you weren't able to though, but you were
Uh,
hoping to.
yeah, so I was able to fly out on time and I got home and was able to do stuff and not be extremely tired. Because to Florida, it's only like a 3-hour flight, even if. And my pilot was on point. That sucker. He must have made a bet or something. I had a check to get to because we left 15 minutes late and showed up 15 minutes early. So he was gangster with it. So I had a good time. Met a lot of people. It was crazy because I'm just me. I'm nobody special. And I'm one of the speakers there, and they had Anthony Calandro from Gun for Hire Range, who I know. They had Valentina, she was speaking there. Me, Willis Lee, Amanda Suffolcool. And I'm looking, going, how am I on stage with 3 NRA board of directors? And people came to see us speak. Pretty freaking cool. Like, I don't know how I'm in the room. My friend Patrick from Gun Food, Patrick Collins from Gun Food. If you don't know him, if you want to support an ammunition company, an ammunition retailer, he's one of the ones you can support and 100% believe he's a Second Amendment advocate. Like, not only was he there, I was at the Ambassador Academy with him. When he launched his company, I backed him up and told people to go purchase stuff. Like on every podcast I was on, I advertised for him. Stand up dude, well into the scene. He's been to Train and Learns, and then he sponsored some of the ammo at different events that you may know about. He sponsored Women for Gun Rights events. So he's done all that, and he's also on the board of Georgia Carry because he lives in Atlanta. And he's on the board of Georgia Carry and supports Florida Carry and all that stuff. So if you want a gun company that's actually there and fighting for you and for your rights with volunteer work, money, and product, he's one of them. The Gun Food. You
One
can
of the
follow
few,
him.
really. I mean, there's
Yeah, there's like
probably a
2
couple
I
other
know.
ammo companies, but
I know 2. 2 exactly. Phoenix Ammunition and Patrick. Yeah, Phoenix makes their own ammo, but Patrick's he sells ammo.
so this was well, we've been talking about like the month or whatever. So do you want to
Mhm.
talk about stuff going backwards or starting with shot?
Sure. Let's start with shot if you want.
So
Um,
like I say, it's been a while now. I'm guessing just because of all the stuff you've done. Have you? Well, I know you've done some. You obviously you're in other podcasts, so I'm sure it's Tuesday show. I don't know the names of all of them, but your Tuesday show and your Saturday show.
mhm,
I don't think the Saturday show you guys. Wait, no, you did talk about shot a little bit, but
mhm.
I'm sure the Tuesday show because you guys are gonna gear review and you guys that's what you
That's what we
do.
talked about.
So you
Yeah.
talked about it already there. I would say since you've had a chance, because I haven't been on any shows where anybody really gives a shit about SHOT Show, really. They'll ask, like, what new guns are there, and then that's it. Where back in the day, like, I hung out with people that really enjoyed everything about the industry and the community and stuff and what happened at SHOT. Granted, I think more stuff, at least I was involved with more stuff happening at SHOT. I mean, obviously, tons of stuff happens at SHOT. But I guess the question I'm going to ask you is, well, first, I guess, which SHOT was this for you? How many shots have you been to now?
5? Because we only missed 1 year because of COVID. They didn't have
Because
it.
of a loop or whatever. So basically wrapping around that like 5, so it's 6 years. Um,
Yeah.
what was your impression of the show minus like anybody you talk to or like the guns or anything like that, but
Yeah.
just the
Yeah.
show and because anything kind of we always kind of talk about in this show because we're old, the big picture, the 30,000 foot view, and like the kind of trends and growths and slowdowns and stuff. Just in general, like I know that most of the time when you talk about shot, you're talking about either the people or the parties or the stuff that happened or the
Hmm.
gear and the guns and the stuff that's we're there for. So I guess what I'm asking is, what did you think of the show this year, and just like the potential, the amount of, because this is way after the fact too, so you had a chance to kind of see what other people, not just yourself, but like in general, how was the show this year, do you think? How was the
The show,
industry?
it felt lower energy. All right, maybe that was the way I took it.
No, I
Um,
hear that. There was definitely no like electricity in the air, but there was no fear, but there was no excitement, and
mhm.
there wasn't like any passion, and there was no lack of it though. I don't think there was, because
Yeah, no.
sometimes there's like almost like a negative energy or something. I don't think there was any of that this year.
Now again, this is only my fifth show, and I started in 2020 before COVID. Like COVID was still that crazy ass news story with weird videos coming out of China. My first year, so it was my excitement, and it was a lot of stuff happening. Again, 2020. I think we were over the Trump slump, and stuff was still coming out. I think, but the feeling this year was suppressors huge, and like almost everyone had a suppressor or talking about a suppressor, but it wasn't a hype. Now I don't know if it was not any one group had like a suppressor that everyone was pushing, like everybody had one. And it wasn't that crazy energy. Like there wasn't a bunch of hype. They were like, hey, we got this new gun out, we got this out, but nobody was crazy screaming, this is the product of shot, this is the one that's the world beater. I mean, and you'd expect that out of somebody like, hell, even Glock. And they were like, yeah, here's our Gen 6. Yeah, we put it out a month ago because somebody friggin' violated a non-disclosure agreement. And here's the thing. So it was good. There was no negative. It was just like, hey, we're here for shot. Here's new stuff. There was no rah rah. So I was good with it either way. Again, it wasn't a negative shot. It wasn't a fear induced shot. And I think the industry reflects what's going on and the fact that the Trump slump is in full swing, and a lot of people were let go out of the industry. So it has changed because of that. They're a lot smaller,
Right
but
on.
I think it was still good. I had fun, and I changed my approach to shot instead of trying to hit everybody up, right? And trying to find new people to talk to and establish relationships with. I went to companies I already had relationships with and spoke to, and tried to get concrete promises on and tell them exactly how they can help me. You know what I mean? Like, this is what I need from you. And pretty much all of them were like, that's reasonable. I totally get that. I'm like, money is a problem for all of you, but I have my numbers now for 501c3. I just got to make sure when we got a new accountant that having those numbers, and this is what I've been told by other 501c3s, as long as you have the state and the federal number, you are a 501c3 until your paper comes through. Your paperwork comes through. You can take donations, you can do everything a 501c3 does until your paperwork comes through. So I'm like, okay, cool. So that was an approach I used at SHOT and again at Great American Outdoor Show. But SHOT was good. People were
So
cool.
now that you've like got that, I don't know what to call that, like a credibility, I suppose, or like
Hmm.
accreditation is probably the right word, maybe.
Hmm.
But
Yeah,
in other words, it means that when
credential.
somebody wants, is it though? I'm because
Uh,
it's more than just like I'm a trainer, because it
yeah, no,
means that when somebody gives money to the organization, they can write it off. Where before
yeah.
they would just consider it like marketing, I guess. Now they can
So
consider it a nonprofit. So
I actually had a
when that
conversation
happens,
with one of the. I actually had a conversation with more than one, and I asked them about that. Like, does it not come out of the marketing budget? Right? Is it a totally different budget when it's charity? And they were like, not with our company. So it might go from company to company how they set that up. You know what I mean? Because they were like, yeah, it's still a marketing budget because some companies are really stupid with their marketing budget. Um, I'll go ahead and say it. One of the companies, yeah, I want to keep it kind of vague, but it kind of ticked me off because it really makes no sense. It's what happens when you have salespeople in charge of things. They have 12 firearms that they can give away every year. Like between giving them away and not getting them back and sending them out T&E. And I'm like, this is a large enough company that you should be able to do that with more than 12 firearms. Like that's ridiculous. And you just hamstring them, but then complain that not enough people know about your product. And it's like, well, if you send it out, people, they do 1,000 round review or they shoot it a little bit. They have to get it and then record and then put that out and maybe have to keep it until they make sure they don't need B-roll or stuff like that. With 12 things out there, you're not getting a lot of turnaround, especially if somebody takes 2 to 3 months. You're not getting a lot of people showing anything. Anyway, I just thought that was a little frustrating because they have a product I want to highlight in my diversity shoots because I think it would fit with what we do. And they were like, bro, ask for it. We're pushing for you. We have been for years. And, with the new 501c3 thing, I was like, will that make a difference? And they were like, yeah, no, probably not. But we'll still push for you. I'm like, all right, whatever.
Well,
Having people on your
that's
side
one
is having
company, but that is a
yeah,
question
yeah.
I was asking is like if that makes a difference, if like somehow, that was a thresh. I don't know what to call it,
hmm
like a threshold or something that they were, makes it easier, makes it a different pile that they can pull from or something.
For me, look, dude, I'm happy to be doing what I'm doing, even if it can break even and I don't have to reach into my personal bank account, which I had to do for Florida, which my wife is upset about. But if I don't have to do that, it's a win. But we just had a lot of stuff happen at one time, and it ate up a lot of funds between website, post office box, and insurance. All of it was like bang, 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 bang. And I'm stuck with the roper dope going, all right, I have to give up something. It really sucks. But whatever, man. Listen, those are big boy problems. We feel we're making a difference. We're reaching more people. We just had an event Thursday, and it was a crap ton of new people uh, that got out there, including my supervisor from work, which was great
Was
because
that
I
the
invited
first one
him.
this year then?
This was the second one this year. I did one in January. Excuse me. I did one in the first week, I think, of February.
Oh, okay.
Uh, and that was again a sellout at Gun for Hire range, and that's where I start every year. And that was great. People were there. We had some new people there. We took a bunch of photos. Um, at We Shoot last week or Thursday, we have a professional photographer there, and he took a metric ton of freaking pictures. So we got that. He got that watermark with the thing, and they gave me access to it through Dropbox. So I'll be putting out a lot of info with that. People want to get behind what we do, and I'm really happy about it. And it's just like, all right, stay healthy. I've been eating better. I've lost weight. Went to the doctor yesterday. She was like, you've lost 50 pounds since you started coming to me in the last like a little over a year. And I'm like, cool.
Yeah.
She was like, so our appointment again in like, I don't know how many weeks. She's like, I should expect you to be down another 50. I'm like, you can expect anything you want, lady.
I was gonna say like going to shot and all this other stuff ain't like hurting nothing. You know what I mean? You get a lot of walking in.
hmm I do a lot of walking. One of my guys who with me doing shot, he had the app on his phone that told him how many steps we took, and it was like over 12,000 steps. And they were like, "Why don't you activate it on your phone?" I'm like, "Bro, I sat on my phone once, and that phone deleted every fitness app off my phone. It's like, obviously, you're not going to use this, you're not going to use this, and you're not." My phone self-deleted stuff after it figured out how much I weigh.
I
Phone
used
is
to
like,
have
we're
it
clearing
on
up.
my one phone. I think when I first
Mhm.
got a smartphone, it was on there because I remember that was a thing I did at Shot for a number of years. And then I think I started getting more interested in not letting my phone just chirp to everybody. I turned off some of the uh,
Mm,
stuff, just in an effort to not, I guess, for privacy. And I think when you turn some of that location stuff off, it's the default thing, quit tracking my steps or whatever. But with watches and with, you can always buy just like a is it a pedometer, whatever, like the little thing you put on your belt, or on your wrist or something. It is possible to track. It's always easier to realize the incremental effort, right? When you're tracking
Mhm.
it, because it's always tough to realize it when it's happening slow. But yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, so I mean, I felt better at shot this year. I was able to walk around more. I didn't need to stop because my joints were hurting. Because that was a reason I was on the what do you call that thing? The scooter was because of the pain of walking in my knees and the weight loss. They told me the weight loss would help. It did, and also walking around, I felt really fit. Excuse me, I felt more fit than before. We were getting those steps in. What, one, two, three, four? I mean, from Monday to Saturday or Monday to Friday, right? Yeah, Monday to Friday, walking pretty much on an average of 12,000 steps a day, if not. Yeah, let's average it out to that. Felt good. Got off the plane here in Jersey into a freaking blizzard. Walked outside to start shoveling and realized that's a whole different fitness level. Walking and shoveling
Yeah,
snow.
for sure.
What else
I
for
actually was
Scott?
watching because of the internet, whatever, you see things. And although
Hmm.
I don't have to shovel snow, half the reason I moved out here is because I don't like grass and snow. It's just
Gotcha.
ridiculous having to deal with that in life. But anyway, I seen a thing that said you shouldn't lift the shovel part of the snow shovel, the snow,
Hmm.
whatever, over your shoulders.
Yeah,
And I don't know if I ever heard that before, but I guess it's, it's, I don't know what the deal was, but it had something to do with you have a higher risk of heart attack or something if you start lifting the shovel higher than your shoulders.
yeah, and there's no reason to.
I mean, it depends on where you're going, but I can remember as a kid, and I'm not little, but like sometimes when, especially if you're doing anything near a driveway where the snow gets pushed from the snow or from the street with the big
Mm-hmm.
things, sometimes you do have to get it up and over like a big bank of snow, or if
Yeah,
it's been uh, acquired, or what's the word, like if it's been piling up. Sometimes I can remember you're digging out little walkways, but I guess the
yeah.
idea is to have power and then just stop and let the snow keep going and not keep
Yeah.
lifting the shovel or something. But anyway, it's horrible. I can't even imagine having to. Well, I can
So
remember. I can
this
barely remember it, but I have sympathy for everybody up there having to do that shit.
so this year what happened is, I mean, excuse me, not this year, this snowstorm, the second one we had, I was able to get the guys in my house that live here, and it was four of us out there with shovels, and we were able to clear all the cars off, clear the lot, blow through the freaking 3 foot berm that the goddamn uh, plow
Street.
trucks did.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we went down the street about 3 car lengths and just cleared it all the way to the curb. And I swear, 4 minutes after we came back, the freaking plow truck came by, dropped the plow, and there was nothing for them to push in front of our freaking driveway. It was awesome.
Nice.
So that was 5 straight hours of shoveling to clear out the lot, clear off the cars, and then I jump in the vehicle, go fill it up with gas, and then go to work because I'm essential personnel. I had to be in regardless. And that's when all the freaking cramps hit a brother.
Oh man.
It's
Yeah.
like, hey, guess he was using muscles you're not used to. Okay, let me see your back, your neck, your shoulders, your calves, your ankles. Oh yeah, your hairline. Bitch, I don't have a hairline. Yeah, it's gonna hurt anyway. Yeah, so that was great. That got me on ibuprofen for 3 days.
Oh
But
man.
it is what it is. It was great, man. I mean, I feel good because I know due to the weight I lost that I was able to do this stuff when before I wouldn't have been able to.
It's the other side here. It was going to be the hot. Well, it already. I guess it's over now. But it's the hottest February that's ever been recorded, and we got like
Oh
90
crap.
already. And usually we don't get 90 till at the end of March. So it's the opposite
Holy
here. Like
freaking
definitely not
Mary
dealing. We're dealing with
Josephine.
the weeds more than snow at this point.
That's a no, and another no, just in case anybody. Hey Tony, why don't you move out to Arizona? No,
Yeah, no, it's going to get horrible here pretty quick. Really
I
horrible.
don't. I don't like being in places where it feels like the air is trying to kill me, and that's either snow or heat, cold
And
or
you're
heat. I
and,
don't
and
like
it's
either.
dependent on the electricity. That's what I don't like. Is like you really have to have AC in order to function. You can exist in the shade, but to actually function, you really do need conditioning of the air, and that's money, and yeah, it's a pain in the ass. It'd be the
Mm.
same as if you like snow is one thing, but I lived where there was snow, but I never lived in the snow is because of just the way the weather was, right? Like, but I never lived in the places where it gets cold as shit. And again, I think the reason we had snow is because of the water and the whatever the currents are called, the air currents are called, that, we got snow, it dropped on us, but because of the way that it was, we never really got really cold. We got cold, but not, cold enough for snow. But I've seen
Yeah,
people like in Minnesota and the what do they call
yeah,
like the Dakotas and shit where it gets down to like crazy numbers where it breaks steel and shit. Nope, I'm not interested in that. I don't mind
not
if
at
I'm
all.
gonna die, I'd rather freeze to death than burn to death, but I'm not looking to die, so I don't want to be in that kind of extremes.
Yeah, I don't have that bullcrap penciled in either to have the weather killed me in 2026. It's just ridiculous. Um, Coming in though, I thought I was gonna check the frig out when we flew into Florida. Somebody decided not to take off when they told them to take off, and my plane actually had to do a touch and go. Like they came in for a landing and then had to add all kinds of friggin' throttle and get us out of there.
Hmm.
That was severe. So Shot Show, you got any more questions about Shot? Because I could talk about American Outdoor Show.
Well, I guess just another question would be, how was it as far as like uh what's the words? Like as far as getting there and having a good show. You said you had a good show, but um any issues with learn anything as far as the show itself, like administrative, I guess that's the way to say it. Um,
So,
Gear that you took or wouldn't should have took, didn't take, will never take again, wish you would have brought.
so, as far as my gear, I'm learning that I don't need anything. Let's stop BSing. I need nothing to do my job because my job is advocate, to come up with secondary stuff for people to look at because I put word out, hey, what do you guys want to see? What do you want me to look at? And nobody said anything. So if there's not a market there, I'm not going to worry about trying to, take a whole bunch of photos and get information because everybody's got that in overload anyway, with Shot. If you're interested in what's at Shot Show, like you have your favorite channel or whatever at Shot Show, and you can look at their stuff, and I don't have to record and have one more thing to do. So stick with being the dude that's advertising myself. Well, actually, 2A4E, but it really does come to advertising myself. So that's what I learned. That's what I did, and also winner, in my opinion. I decided to talk to companies directly and tell them what I think. I don't BS anymore, and I walked over to the Colt booth. My supervisor is getting into firearms again, and he asked me what 1911 should I purchase, and I took into account his personality, and I was like, Colt 1911. He was like, okay. So we go to the website to look at it, and Colt's website is atrocious. And for their brand new Colt 1911 with an optic cut, um, they have two pictures of it on their website. Two. And it was pathetic because he had a couple of questions, and I actually had to go to someone's Shot Show video to get the information for him. So I walked over to Colt's booth and I was like, "Hey, your website really is horrific. I sold the gun, but when he asked questions, I sold the Colt, but when he asked questions, I couldn't answer him from your website, and that's not something that I should even be saying." And the guy was like, "Well, you need to tell that lady right there." I'm like, "Who is she?" He was like, "That's the interim president of Colt
Nice.
Firearms." So I walked over to him, like, "Hi, my name's Tony Simon. This is what I do. But what happened?" And I gave her the story, and I was like, "It's really, really bad that I had to look somewhere else to find out about your product." And that kicked off a conversation between me and the interim president, the interim CEO, and she said that's one of the many things she's working on. And then we started actually having a conversation, and I found out that she just started. She's the first female to run Colt since Colt's widow, and she has a lot of plans and wants it to work out. And then when I asked, well, what was your background? Like, how did you get here? Because being a female, yeah, great, but what they do, just no one pulls a random woman to run Colt. And it ends up she has a history in the firearms industry, including working as the go-between between the firearms industry and the ATF. She worked for the ATF, but she tried to, like, in her words, she was the go-between between the industry to show them how to comply with the things the ATF wanted done, and vice versa. Like, she was the voice in between, and then she left that and did something else in the industry. So we had that conversation, and I was like, I think you're very interesting. I'd like to actually interview you, and I'll be a NRA. Are you going to be there? Because if so, I'd like to interview you. So she got all my information. She gave me hers, and pretty much that my first interview for NRA has already been set up.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I didn't know none of that.
Yeah, I didn't know any of it either. So, and I guess dude told me that, and he thought I was gonna like chicken out or back down or some crap like that. Her and I had between a 30 and a 45-minute conversation. It was a while, and I was speaking to her personal assistant who was there clocking all of her time. And she was like, "You're the first person she's spoken to that wasn't already scheduled." Like, she was like, that was crazy because every moment is almost like taken up by somebody for her. And I was like, that's pretty cool that she took that much time with me when, she's the CEO of Colt. She's the CEO of Colt Firearms, but that was great of her. So hopefully we can have open and honest conversation about Colt and the direction they're going into.
I'm a little concerned. Well, first I want to say thanks to the people on. I have it going to Facebook because now Facebook. I don't. Oh, we haven't talked about that part of SHOT Show. So I'll mention that when we're getting done talking about SHOT Show here. But somebody over on Facebook gave us a like, and now that I'm connected to Facebook through the StreamYard, which is what I'm using to broadcast or stream or whatever it's called, because it lets me go to, it has lots of tools and lets me go to different places. So we're streaming to YouTube, X, and Facebook. And I just
Nice.
noticed, because it's never happened before, but somebody liked it. I actually know who liked it on Facebook, and that shows up on the thing here. So just a FYI, that's cool. But my concern is, now that you've said all this, since it's a female CEO or whatever, COO of Colt, we're
Hmm.
probably going to see a lot more aluminum frame lighter guns, and then a lot more pink. So I'm very concerned. A lot more
Yeah.
38 special revolvers probably coming out.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. She seems that type of person. Yeah, I really want to see what she does, how she takes off with it, because we spoke about the website. That was a big one to me. Um, and maybe I'll ask her about other things. I don't want to go too far, but she's a very smart lady and she can answer what she wants. And obviously, I'm not going to try to ambush anyone. I mean, Pete Brownell's conversation went pretty dang well. Um, as long as you're willing to answer questions and even be honest, going, "Hey, I don't feel comfortable talking about that." All right, cool. Does not bother me in the least bit.
All right, so then we got other stuff to talk about here, and we're gonna
Hmm.
try and just be on the show or on the air all the afternoon tonight, today, whatever it is. But when we were when we were all at SHOT Show, but I wasn't there. I don't go to any of the parties anymore. I used to go to the parties
Hmm.
only because it was, well, when I was a younger kid, the parties were fun and the parties were different. And I'll just say
Hmm.
what stays in Vegas and all that shit, right? So like the
Right.
parties that I
Yep.
used to go to are different than the parties that are now.
Hmm.
So then, not saying they got ruined, they're just different. And I don't like drunk people, so I don't go to parties just to get drunk or nothing. Anyway, so I don't go to any of the parties, and I definitely don't give a shit about networking. And the thing is, when I would go to the parties, they were parties and they were fun and they were parties. We've got some pictures of them on the internet from back in the day, but they're not like that anymore. They're more like networking events and shit. And people get all drunk and network, and I don't get all drunk. So the problem is with them is, if you're not drunk and they're all drunk, depending on if they get drunk all the time or not, like, it doesn't matter really, because they're going to probably, at least in my experience, more often than not, have all these conversations, and then you get home and then they don't remember having the conversations. So to me, it's
Hmm.
pointless. You got to explain it all back to them. Now, because they're drunk, they usually accept whatever you said is part of,
Hmm.
I guess that's what we agreed on. And I don't play that game. I don't like that shit. So, and that's not my thing. I'm not trying to collect friends or any points or shit. You know what I mean? Like, that's not my gig at SHOT Show. So anyway, and then I'm saying that that's all that happens at these parties, but that would be what it seems like most people go to those parties for. The people that I just don't like going to those parties. But I've heard at one of the parties, Facebook showed up, and there was like 3 dudes from Facebook who, I guess the dude who owns Facebook likes guns now. So he he sent people from Meta to the SHOT Show specifically to turn on channels from gun people. And these people I know met up with these guys from Meta at a party, and we're told that, and they said, okay, well, here's my channel. And then click, 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 their channels are turned on. And long story short, I know dozens of people, including myself, who had our channels turned on. So there is a place you can go in Facebook. I didn't know about it because I haven't used Facebook pretty much ever. I just have Facebook accounts. I've always hated it. And they hate guns, always have. So there was no point in using Facebook, in my opinion. So anyway, they showed me where to go look. And sure enough, there's a place in Facebook where if you ask it, like the status of your account or something, it'll say, your account exists, but it won't be recommended to anybody except the people who are already subscribed to it or whatever it's called. And you got like all these red check marks everywhere that it can't do this and it can't do this. You write an email to this guy, and this is, I guess, turned off at this point because too many people bothered him. But you wrote an email to this guy, an hour later, all these things are green lights and I'm good to go. So you can monetize it. I made like $5 off of Facebook already, which is insane because you don't make any money on gun stuff anywhere. So just by having pictures on Facebook, like $5 from Facebook itself, but you can turn on ads, you can do all kinds of stuff. So I played with it a little bit. I know some people that had their shit turned on at that party, and they're just viral now. Like everything they do is viral because they're showing nice pictures of cool guns from SHOT Show, which is what everybody wants, right? Right after SHOT Show. And these guys did good pictures. So, you know what I mean? Like they know what they're doing, have good gear, and then gave everybody what they were looking for. So they're just huge. Like they're way bigger than me on Facebook now. I think they're looking hundreds of thousands of subs and shit.
Wow.
Right. And from like 800 subs, from like 80 subs and shit, from like nothing, from just like doing it because you should do it as part of your social network or your social media efforts, to like having Facebook turn off the restraints, I guess, because that's all it was, is our accounts were all whatever they call it. It's not really blacklisted because it tells you right there, we're not going to show your account to anybody, but there's nothing you can do about it. They're just telling you. But when they turn all that shit off, which is all it took, click, 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 one email, boom. So anyway, I don't know where you're at with Facebook, your opinion on it. I still hate Facebook because it's just petty that they're like this. And if you met, how would I even know about this except that somebody I know went to a party and met these people? And then a bunch of other people got told right away. So the people who you would think are, let's just say, assholes who are making a bunch of money off this whole gun thing, sky is falling, Chicken Little bullshit.
Yep.
They got it turned on. And there's some of the largest making money channels out there. And this helped them a lot. Facebook probably loves that. But yeah, at some point they got sick of helping people. I guess too many people asked for help. So it's lame that they don't just make a system to turn us all back on or something, but at least the knowledge is there that it is a possibility potentially with a large enough presence or with enough people asking, you could have a channel turned back on, even though they haven't like opened the doors for that.
Well, the crazy part about it, there's so many people ask for help because you limited it, you asshole. If you didn't do what you did, you wouldn't have anybody contacting you asking for help.
Yeah,
you cut the signal and then complained about people calling in about the signal because you do confusing dumb crap like, hi, would you like to boost your channel? Oh, we've limited you, but we also took your $5 or $15 or however much you're offering for me.
We took your $5 and then told the people that we were going to tell anyway, which is only the people that are subscribed to your shit. So you paid $5 to tell the people we were going to tell anyway. And we just did that for your full $5. But what you wanted, $5 to people you never heard of you before? No, we won't do that.
And how dare you call me to ask me about it?
Well, I mean, I don't want to make it sound like that guy's being that much of an ass. I just think he probably went to SHOT to turn on some like gun people, figured out like, oh, they're all into this, and then was like, oh shit, there's too many of them. Like, I have another job to do and I can't do it. So I don't think he was like being a dick, but I'm just saying like it turns out there was a time frame on that.
Yeah, you're here because of choices you made as a company. That's why everyone's contacting you. Why don't you just turn all the stuff off and let
Well,
us
no, that's
operate
the
like
thing.
any
Exactly.
product?
Why not just make a form? Like it's impossible for a company like Facebook to make a form that says, "Hey, I think I'm turned off wrong. Let's turn it
Yeah,
back on."
that's all.
And then just set somebody down in front of that form all day and turn them back on.
Hmm. Or how about make the default setting turn them back on?
Or there you go too. And then turn them off again if necessary type of shit like it's supposed to be.
But please give us explanations to why you're turning it off and not tell me some crazy stuff. Hey, you violated our rules. Where? How? What? Like, what video did I put out about? Oh, we're not going to tell you.
No, it's still like that. I'm sure. Because
Yeah,
here's the thing, Gizzard is. I don't. Hopefully, Gizzard isn't mad that I'm saying this, but Gizzard is one of the people that we heard about this. Right? We told each other. I would have told you if we haven't been talking or whatever. But I'm telling
yeah.
everybody I know when it was happening. It's not like it's the first thing I talked to about because I still don't like Facebook. It's just that I'm like, oh, okay, Facebook is into guns now, and that you can turn your shit back on, at least for a minute there. And I was going to tell whoever was interested. So anyway, Gizzard is one of the people that they turned him on and then he immediately got turned back off again because of
Hmm.
whatever something pokes him and he couldn't figure out what, and he spent forever trying to figure out what it was, and then it never. I don't think he ever did get his shit turned back on permanently. But I've been
Yeah.
doing basically what I do on YouTube, which is kind of mild, I think. I don't do anything because I don't do anything new. It's just recycling my old shit. So I think it's chunks of this show from like old shows where I have a robot chop it up and put pieces of it up as shorts. I think some of that goes on YouTube, on Facebook, and then probably me fiddling with like the Medusa or the pen gun or something. And uh, so anyway, whatever I'm doing doesn't violate whatever their rules are. But like I say, I'm not doing anything all that exciting or anything.
Yeah, I do nothing anyway. I mean, none of my stuff is crazy. At least
But
I
anyway,
don't
I
see
don't
it.
know if, like I say, since we haven't talked, I don't know where you're even. I got hiccups. Where you're at with Facebook, or if you care. But at least
I
I
don't.
can. If you do, I can give you the guy's number. And then, like I say, I'm sure even though it's been a while, he might. Now that it's calmed down, he might be able to take a person or two.
Yeah, you can shoot me that information. It's not like, but because of the way they were is the reason I stopped caring. It was like, why am I begging you for this when I've done nothing wrong and you said I did? Oh, we're not gonna. I'm like,
Yeah.
bro, I don't have anything crazy on. Hi, you have this right.
Well, and I'll say this too, like the people that I'm seeing, like I did have one video go viral-ish, right? 3,000 or no,
Oh, cool.
13,000 views. It's not like a lot, but it's compared to my 220 views or something that most of my videos get. That was the most viral-ish thing I've got over there. None of those people come back and watch the next thing. So
Mhm.
it's a scroll type of a thing. So if you got to be appealing to the people who are scrolling, a lot of eye candy, in other words, which is
Mhm.
fine, but it isn't the same as like, here's a law that, not sky is falling, but like, here's something we need to do, or here's like a comment period we should be, participating in. Usually scrolls go right past anything like that, right? Like they don't really care about
Yeah, they no,
being
they you could.
educated or whatever. They're being
Nope,
entertained or they're looking for entertainment.
that's all. They're
So,
looking for bread and circuses.
and which is fine. Like that's just it's like going to, I don't know, like the cartoon thing on Saturday morning and trying to,
Yeah,
push something on somebody who's there to be entertained. Like they're trying to eat cereal and get ready for the day, and you're trying to teach them something. It works once in a while with Schoolhouse Rock, but aside from that, right, it wouldn't work.
yep. That's what I was thinking. Yeah, it's you showing up with Schoolhouse Rock, and they just waiting for Bugs Bunny to come on. It's like, all right, cool. Here's a cool thing. Every now and again, you'll get something, and it'll catch and go viral, but you won't get any followers out of it, or you get very few followers compared to how many people watched it.
But I guess what I'm saying is like, yeah, it's also like Schoolhouse Rock kind of worked, but it's not like we all became scholars. We just learned really well, like how a bill becomes a sitting on the steps thing or whatever. You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
we learned some specific things through listening to them over and over and over. But anyhow, um, Outcast is saying, question, does anyone have information on people saying full auto might be available without all the paperwork? Is this a real thing? I don't know if you've been paying attention to that. It's in West Virginia and maybe in Tennessee, I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So according to what I've been able to figure it out, and we had a chat about this the other night, and everyone was like, I'm not sure what the deal is. So I just went to the robots, right? The search engine robots, And basically, when you do a search for something now, you can ask for a robot assistant to summarize what the results of those searches. And that's what happens, right? You search something like that that's new news, and all you've got is a bunch of reports about it. So having the robot go in and summarize as many of those as it can is a good way to, like asking the librarian instead of reading all the books, I hope. So what it summarized it as is that in the Hughes Amendment of the Gun Owners Protection Act of 1986, right, it says something like the state, oh man, I can't remember the two words, but like can or may or something, right? It gives like these two prepositional phrases or whatever that's called, like a by or and or something like that. And because it says by and or whatever the two words are, the West Virginia passed something with the kind of the help of the GOA, and I'm sure the GOA is, let's say behind it or whatever. I have no idea. But let's say that they helped write it or whatever, they were involved. But somebody in West Virginia said, since the Hughes Amendment of the 1986 Gun Owners Protection Act says the state may act as or for blah, 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 like I can't remember the exact phrasing, then that means that the state can purchase a full auto and then give it to a qualifying resident based on the Hughes Amendment. And, it's sort of like saying, the way I'm reading the Hughes Amendment, the state can give away the gun to a qualified resident. And then what the bill says for the West Virginia is something to the effect of the state will buy X amount of machine guns. These will be M16s and MP5s and M203 grenade launchers, which I'm all about M16s and 203s. I'm definitely pro 203 M16. We're going to buy these and MP5s and then distribute them to qualifying people. So we first have to buy them. Then we have to have a department of distribution or whatever it's called. Then we're going to have a qualifying individual, definition. And then we start to distribute machine guns to these qualifying people. And then we charge $250 for the fee or whatever. And then it's $275 if they want to transfer the machine gun to someone else. And these are post 1986 Hughes Amendment qualified or like defined machine guns. So in other words, not post pre 86 transferables, but instead post 86 brand new, now transferable because of their interpretation of the Hughes Amendment. So I think if I'm summarizing it correctly, that's what it is. It's like saying, hey, the way we're reading the Hughes Amendment, we're going to do this. Let's go ahead and pass this so that West Virginia will then start purchasing machine guns and handing them out to people for $250 a pop. I mean, it might be the cost of the gun plus $250. I'm not sure how the robots read that, so I can't imagine they're going to give away $1,000 M16 for $250, but they might. I have no idea. But because I think it had something to do with, well, we want a militia, so the militia should have what the National Guard has. The National Guard has M16s with 203s stuck on them, or MP5s if you're left-handed or something and you don't want to shoot an M16. Like, fine, then we'll give you, hopefully they're MP5s in 10 millimeter, but I'm dreaming, I'm hoping. Do they even make MP5s in 10 millimeter? That's probably too much for German engineering.
Yeah, they had some. Actually, TFP had it on their channel a couple of days ago. I didn't watch the video. I knew about it though. I knew they put some out.
But if I'm summarizing it correctly, and if anybody's following me, I don't know. What do you think? Was that something that's cool, or is that a waste of time, or is that?
No, every win moves that Overton window, and when we can point out the blood not running in the street, it works out for us better because 29 constitutional carry states, and there's not blood flowing in the streets. They got nothing. So it helps us in the fight in other states, in court, in conversations at your job, because that's still advocating. If I haven't said it in 5 minutes, it's still
That's
being
super
an
advocation. That's like the grassroots of grassroots, right? Like hanging out with people at the water cooler.
Yep. So that's putting that out there and allowing you to go, where's the blood running in the streets? Where are the horrific stories about what is it, shootouts over road rage in the country of almost 400 million people. Where are all the stories with 29 states having constitutional carry? That's what's the math on 29 states? 3/5 of the country.
Actually, it would be interesting because we've done it
Oh,
on.
I'm
If you think about how many people are
sorry.
affected, like human beings or percentage of the population is affected by the bad gun laws, all the good, let's call them quote unquote good gun laws, or at least the lack of bad gun laws
Hmm.
in those 29 states.
Hmm.
How many actual population? Because I'll bet you it's more like, is that 40% maybe? Because you know what I mean? That's a lot of states with not
Hmm.
that many people in them. Unfortunately, it's not the big
Yeah,
ass population states that are like that
they're
yet.
not that top. What number did we say? Was it top 10? That 10 states
Yeah,
that
that
make
like
70
nine or
million
10
people?
states is like 40%. So I bet you these aren't, or more like 40% also.
Well,
Because
it's
there's
70
probably
million.
that middle percent, like those middle states are kind of in the middle of everything, middle of the laws and middle of the population.
But yeah,
Oh,
we're
man.
making a difference. We're making a difference, and every win is a win. There's no reason to poo-poo it. Matter of fact, it gets on my nerves a little bit that so many supposed Second Amendment or gun people are so willing to poo-poo our own wins.
Take them for granted or ignore them is just as bad, really.
Hmm.
Now, I'll bitch about the three-letter organizations, wasting time and lawsuits and shit. In this case, I'm down. I mean, I'll give GOA as much credit as they can give. I can give them for if they can, because I think this is a novel approach. If I'm understanding it correctly, if I'm missing something major here and it's a dumb move, then please let me know or somebody let me know. But if it's a different way to look at it, like chiseling from a different area, you're trying to
Hmm.
carve a statue. You're not just going to start in one area. You can start somewhere else. You can attack or how do they eat an elephant one bite at a time. You don't have to start at the
Hmm.
trunk, right? You can take a bite out of the leg or eat an ear. You know what I mean? You can do other things, and I like that because it gives more people a chance to see, like you're saying, like there's just so many wins as far as like in the community. Like there's just, as we're talking about it on our side, it's not echo chamber stuff anymore. Now it's like growth and change, and having to actually think about something different. So I think that's a great benefit when we're talking to people in the middle. Again, like it's a challenging idea. Full auto, I can't even fathom that. Great, let's talk about it. Like, how could you not fathom it? Like, I just bought a cop car.
Hmm.
Should I be allowed to own a cop car? I have a car that cops can drive. I can go 130 miles an hour. You know what I mean? Like, I
Hmm.
got bulletproof. I got cop tires. I got cop brakes. Like, I can do superhuman things with this thing. I can jump stuff probably. I can pop wheelies if I feel like it. Like, should I be allowed to own that, or is that like too cool of a car to own? Right? Like, I don't know. There's probably all kinds of things like I say, to bring this up so that people can kind of understand that full auto isn't, like, oh my goodness. But
Oh,
then just the idea that the antis, whoever's going against us, can't just go to their stupid playbook and pick out whatever. Oh, when they do this, we say this. Now they have to actually do something, which that's super important. We need to keep them. There's no strategy, there's no tactic anywhere that says let your enemy have the ease of just doing the same thing over and over and over to defeat you. You know what I mean? Like we have to be doing stuff so that they have to parry and twist and create new
yeah.
organizations, and we should be able to just trash their shit and come up with stuff that they need to start from zero to be able to attack us or defend, from what we're trying. Because we're on the side of right here, and they have
Yes.
to, swindle and figure out how to. Anyway, so I think there's so many
Lie
good
and
things about
connive
this.
their way. They have to figure out how to lie and connive and tell half truths, and then when it doesn't work out, change names of entire organizations
Right.
because they have to try a new tack. Yeah, put all that ball in their court. Yeah, suffer, bitch. It really does come down to that because fighting the good fight, being on the right side of history, all of that stuff is frustrating because we're funding both sides of the fight. We're funding advocacy and we're funding the friggin' people we're suing because it's the government's assigning it. So yes, we have a level of frustration. That's our cross to bear. Let the other side have to play catch up with us when laws like this get passed or go through courts and we win. All right, cool. Now you guys figure it out. All right,
No,
cool.
we're not even because, like you say, we're paying for defending. We're paying for things like the NRA and the GOA and all these organizations,
Mm-hmm.
good or bad, and we have for a long time. But then we're also paying taxes, and those taxes are, like you're saying, used by politicians who think guns are bad, right or wrong. They're using them, correctly or incorrectly. They're using them, funding our tax funding to do shit, and then our tax money is also used to fund organizations that hate guns. So, and in fact, we've got like two ways that our communal tax money is often used to kind of fight us, and we have to use those organizations to defend all that, plus our own time and energy to defend against that stuff in society, right? And that's all frustrating. But then uh, I guess what I was going to say is that I'm looking at it as Bloomberg, who's the key player on the other side as far as funding and like the impetus behind all this shit over time. Like he's not the only one, but he's consistently almost the only one that has enough clout to keep this thing going over time. And I keep waiting for somebody to make a documentary about this because I don't have time to do it. But he spent, I think I've looked it up a number of times already with the robots, but he's spent something like $40 million over the years with, like you're saying, all these different organizations that he either recreates or renames or creates out of nowhere to attack from a different angle. But he has this playlist that he pulls from. He attacks gun owners and our property every once in a while when it suits him. He spent about $40 million doing this over the years. And then the dumbass bipartisan, we hate
Mm-hmm.
guns and we're paying back Bloomberg bill, Safer Communities Act crap of whatever that was, 20 something, 2022, whenever that was, that effectively told the government, we're going to take $40 billion or whatever number it is. We're going to put it aside for the next 10 years. And each of the states is going to compete. And the one that comes up with the worst red flag law bullshit, the top 10 states get funding. And that's to pay back the red flag bullshit that you know, participated in to try to win this money. So there's only a couple of states that are going to fight for that stupid money. And who's going to be fighting for that stupid money? Is it the government or is it the organizations owned by Bloomberg? It's the organizations owned by Bloomberg. So we set
Mm-hmm.
aside all this money so that his organizations can compete to which organizations are going to get paid back this $40 billion. He basically paid himself back over this period of 10 years. So he might not have like made the same return he would have made his billions of dollars on the stock market, but who gives a shit? He like literally put 40 million in or whatever, 40 billion in, and he's pulling his 40 billion right back out. So what I'm getting at is, unless there's somebody else, unless he's going to actually throw some real money at this and not expect to get return, like, yeah, we paid a lot of money to this, but at this point he's pulled his money back off the table. Like, are we going to give up? Does the house give up when the whale leaves, or do they, is that when they keep going and the house always wins? Like, we should just keep going at this. uh and I think at some point he's gonna, his momentum, his backing or whatever is gonna dwindle. And who's on the other side? Angry people who are misled. And we might not ever change anyone's specific, every single person's mind, but the the money, the entities that are driven by one guy that keep them going, I suspect at some point we blow right past all that. I don't want to call it resistance, but that like shit that's in the way, like, his, I don't know what to call it, his opposite.
Yeah, his I don't know, his freaking army of losers.
It's not like they're opposing anything as much as like instigating shit. You know what I mean? It's not like,
Mm-hmm.
what we would like is the rules to be removed, but we don't even have a chance to ever ask for that, really, because we're really just defending his impositions, like his, red flag laws, for example. Like, they create
Yep.
those and push them out there. We have to take time to resist them and educate people and blah blah blah. So I don't know if I went off on a tangent there, so I don't know if we're uh
So
moving
went to
from
shot.
the full auto one. Yeah, go ahead to what was
Went to
Aftershock.
after shot was Great American Outdoor Show. Ran to Chris from 702 out there. Chris is doing a good job.
Now, how
Uh,
many days? That was a 9-day show that spans 2 weekends and the week in
mhm.
between. So how much of it did you go to?
I went to 3 days of it. I hit it Friday. Yeah, I had a diversity shoot and then went right up there. So So I hit that after the diversity shoot at Gun for Hire Range, and then I was up there hanging out with those guys. Um, got there about 1 o'clock on a Friday, and just walked around saying hi to the people I know there, and having some of those conversations, talking to the guys at NRA. I met the head of NRA ILA, and John Petrolino. If you don't know the Penn Patriot, check it out. He's done a lot of great work, including finding out about how racist the friggin' permitting process to get a carry permit in Jersey is through Freedom of Information Act. So uh, through John Petrolino, so I'm over at NRA ILA talking to some of the people that I know there, and they introduced me to the president. He was like, "Oh, John told me you were coming. He said it's really important we meet. How you doing? What do you do?" And, gave him the elevator speech, and then we just had conversations like real people. So that was a great networking opportunity I wouldn't have had if I hadn't have gone to NRA. Excuse me, it's not NRA. It's the Great American Outdoor Show, owned by the NRA. So if I hadn't have gone there, I wouldn't have had those conversations. He gave me his phone number, cell phone number, and everything. So that was really cool. I walked around. I talked to the major manufacturers. I looked at stuff I wanted to look at. I again reestablished my relationship with actual people because that's what it's about. Some of these people leave companies and go to other companies, but they like the work we do. I've been going consistently enough to this regional show that I've built, I guess you could call them friends or acquaintances in the industry that are willing to help me out. So when people talking about they want to go to a show, this is a great one to go to. And unlike NRA, it's in the same place every year. So if you're within 4 hours of it, I say you should go. And I mean, if you're smart enough, don't go on the weekend. Go during the week when the rate at the hotels are cheaper. I mean,
How much
that's
is the show to get in? Is it like $20 or is it
free.
like 60? Oh,
Well, I
free.
think it's free to members of the NRA, I think, or it's $20. It's something. It's not much.
Okay, so it's not like an investment. It's not to.
No.
Okay.
Parking is $10 if you get there early, and $20 if you park at one of the side lots. I haven't heard of anybody getting anything broken into because you're in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, and they have people in the lots. Nobody wants to lose that easy money. You know what I mean? So they keep an eye on it, and they have
I've
police.
also heard in most of Pennsylvania, in order to save money, they use chocolate instead of blacktop, so it's probably really sticky if somebody were to walk around the parking lot.
Okay. Um, Listen, that's in the middle of nowhere, and trust me, nobody in Harrisburg wants to lose the Great American Outdoor Show money. So anybody probably caught doing something stupid gets lifted up and snatched right away. Um, and much like most NRA shows, crime drops when there's an NRA show around. That was one of the coolest apps I ever saw, and I can't remember the name of it. Somebody actually used crime tracking or crime whatever, and they look at the crime rates before, during, and after NRA shows, and it just falls right off the map because nobody wants to mess with, between 80 and 100,000 armed people, or possibly armed people. So anyway, went there, had a lot of fun with the guys there. Stayed with the guys at High Point, and talked to some friends of mine that actually works at a suppressor company. They even have, it's not a suppressor company. These people make blast averters that pretty much look like suppressors. And one of my guys came and purchased one, and we actually used it at the last diversity show on a uh, Ruger American
Oh,
308.
it's like
And
a big fat sleeve at the end of the barrel, but then it just pushes the sound forward.
hmm
Okay.
and he had that on a 308 bolt action at the last diversity shoot, and it is hilarious because it doesn't sound like you're behind a 308 when you're pulling the trigger because it's blasting everything down range. And I'm talking about it's the size of a friggin' suppressor that you have on a 308, but it's just directing everything away from you. So it's just as loud, but not to you and not to people on either side of you.
Yeah, the thing is
Uh,
about those kind of things, same with the brake really, is that if they somehow do lessen the noise, then they get in all kinds of trouble. So
mhm.
you kind of have to just throw the noise. But it's interesting how they can throw the noise so good.
Yeah, so that
Does it
that
kick
company
more
was
or anything?
Didn't notice it, and then we threw in a subsonic 308, and all I could do was laugh. I laughed out loud at the difference between a sub and a full in that tool. Now, if it wasn't so expensive and I had an ammo sponsor, I'd love to be able to have just subsonic 308 being launched to introduce people to bolt actions. But what I also learned doing this is once you introduce someone to firearms in a competent manner and they get over the fear of the recoil, they can shoot anything. And we watched new ladies come in that only wanted to shoot pistols or 22s or maybe a small gun. That's their words. And by the end of the night, under the guidance of my volunteers, they were shooting a 50 Beowulf uh, AR. They were shooting a 308 bolt action, and they were firing. What's the other one? Oh, they were shooting an X-Tar 5.56 AR pistol with an 8-inch barrel, and that thing was throwing Goku level freaking fireballs downrange, and these ladies weren't even flinching because we introduced them to it like incrementally. Nobody gave them something with the big kaboom at first, and they just walked through all of that stuff. So anything start ladies off with a 22 and let them build up over time. Shut up. In a 1 hour period, I had these ladies sending freaking 400 grain rounds down range, no problem, at an indoor range. But a lot of cool guns. I actually talked to Ruger at the Great American Outdoor Show, so we'll see if we can work with them in the future because I know they're working with Kevin Dixie and Train and Learn. Uh, so hopefully they're willing to work with us too, because Jersey, Kevin's down in Georgia, and we are bringing different peoples into the community, which is great. And talk to Mossberg. Hopefully, we can get them involved. I hung out with them quite a bit and have conversations with these people. And a lot of this is relationships you build over time, and I'm good with
Now,
that.
was Mossberg at SHOT Show?
Yes, Mossberg is at SHOT Show.
Okay.
They're across from, I think, across or near Smith, either Smith or HK. They were close to some bigger ones
Was
along the one road.
SIG at SHOT Show?
I didn't see a SIG booth.
Because I know that some companies hate SHOT Show now, and then other ones like got in trouble or with like bitching about the cost of booths or something, or like they took a knee at some year or something and didn't come back. And I didn't know
Well,
if
a
American
lot of them
Outfitters
took.
was like they're like we're not going to shop, but we go here.
Well, COVID happened, right? And this is what I saw and what I've heard, and this is what I heard from somebody at SIG. When COVID happened, understand SHOT Show is the biggest show in the industry. So
It's the
SIG
buyer
line,
show. It's the show
yeah,
where all the shops and the distributors show up to do the like buying for the year type of thing.
including internationally,
Yeah, a little
come
bit.
to this. So they put on everybody. SIG sends people who even marketing, sales, all of it, might even get the janitor there. And almost all of them got sick and shot during COVID. And that took them out and actually pretty much shut down SIG until everybody got better almost 3 weeks later. Because they had a skeleton crew that year go to Great American Outdoor Show and they were like, right, everybody's sick.
I got you.
All
Because
right,
they're almost
so
back to back. It's like literally the time it
a
takes to
week.
take down the booth, move it there, and put it back up again.
Yep. It's like a week, and then you're there for 9 days. So you had some people barely recovering because again, I had conversations with these guys because I know a lot of them. And they were like, bro, it just kicked their butts. And they were like, they realized because in 22 they didn't have SHOT Show, right? That was the year that we didn't have it.
No, 21. 20 happened, and then
21,
21, they're
sorry.
like,
Yeah. So 22, they had, well, what happened in that intervening year is SIG realized they spent well over $100,000 on the booth and didn't see a drop off significant enough for them to lose that many people being sick because SHOT Show crud's a real thing, but COVID hit them hard, and they were like, that was a lot of people out. It affected pretty much us for the next month and a half, and they were like, yeah, you know what? We can do regional shows because there's was it TriggerCon out west? You got the Gathering that Palmetto State Armory puts on. There are like a lot of smaller regional shows that they could send less people at and still move around the country and have shows and still see their vendors. They still see real people, and they can go to NRA, they can go to Great American Outdoor Show, and they really didn't need SHOT. And with SHOT missing, there's a significant part of their budget saved. So that's what they did. And then NSSF got kind of snooty with it, but they didn't realize SIG was the only company that saw that. Other companies did too, and they were like, "Yeah, we're not going to SHOT either." And I think that kind of made them the NSSF rethink some stuff. I mean, I don't
That'll
know if
give
this
you,
is boring.
huh?
I don't know. I don't know if it's boring to anybody because this is kind of inside stuff. But even as a gun dude, I think that's interesting to see who goes to shows and who doesn't.
I
Like,
think
why
that's
don't you see
ultra
these companies?
interesting, and that's it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a layer, or it's a, I don't want to say behind the curtain because it's not. It's just that it's not in the spotlight. It's not hidden. In
Hmm.
other words, it's not like they put a curtain around it as much as they just don't. It's it's like nothing stopping you from looking around the back of the building, and that's what we're
Yeah.
doing. Is we're just looking at the size of the building instead of the front of the storeroom or showroom or whatever. But however you want to say it, I'm not saying it right. But no, I think that's ultimately interesting because I was going to say, SHOT Show itself, it's not like some law says SHOT Show has to exist. So whenever I was doing the history projects, um, researching where the various shows, because there's more than SHOT Show. We've already talked about NRA. We're talking about the Great American Outdoor Show. They all have a starting point, and most of them started with something that morphed into, which grew, or which was purchased by, or have some kind of origin story that evolves or grows, because nothing just starts as a finished product, right? Everything's comes from something. Anyway, SHOT Shows is a I don't remember exactly anymore because it's been a while, many years since I did the research, but some origin story, something similar to like a regional show that was for trappers or something very specific, like people that trap fur critters or something. And then that was successful, and enough people showed up that at a time when there was a bunch of little shows, so that manufacturers, because think of the days before Amazon and Walmart. If you were selling a fishing tackle or something, like, you had to go sell it to a shop, right? Gun shop or a surplus, what do they call them, like a tackle shop or whatever, a sporting goods store. That's what I'm looking for.
Hmm.
And so sporting goods stores would have, there was just probably not really distributors or anything. So anyway, there was a lot of uh smaller things that accumulated, and then they become regional shows. And we have these organizations like the SEOPA, Southeast Outdoor something, is the result of sort of that accumulation of, like, literally salesmen grouping together with products and then figuring out, hey, if we all meet at the hotel in July, then we can all make all of our sales at once, and we don't have to all drive around all summer long. And hey, if we bring 3 or 4 more vendors in, then we can bring in 6 more shops, and then we can do this at the bigger hotel. And then it just turned into these, they all just started that way. So SHOT Show was this regional show, and then at some point there was so many regional shows, and I think this was like the 50s or the 60s. So you think of like World War II ending and a shit ton of people being born, having kids and wanting to do something. These are dudes that just won the war. They came home and they have jobs, and their wives might have jobs, so they got money, and they have money to spend on their stuff, and if they're going to go camping or if they're hunting or whatever they're going to do, right? So there's all this like interest, and people have time, and they have like the week and the weekends and their vacation time. So there's like all this stuff that's happening in this baby boom generation and all this. So tons of growth, and these shows start happening to facilitate that. And SHOT Show is the one that decides, like, hey, if we have one big show instead of all these regional shows, that's the answer. And that's like 1960 or something. or 80. Shit, I can't remember. It's probably 80. It must have started in like the 60s. And by the 1980s, they're like, you know what? People are too busy to have this, still before the internet. People are too busy to have to go to like 2 regional shows or something, or 1 regional show and then 1 topical show like sporting goods or guns or something. Instead, let's have this big giant show. And there was no police in it yet. When SHOT Show first started, it was just hunting and shooting. So there wasn't a lot of competitions. Well, it was always competition sports, but there wasn't the competition sports we have today. It was more like marksmanship, shooting rifles and shit like that. So, SHOT Show started and then, became a thing by the 80s or the 90s or something. And then by the 2000s, because it was the thing, when the internet happened, it was the thing. But there's no like law that says SHOT Show, needed to happen, or that it's only a couple of 40 years old or something. And there's been times when it was just so shitty and weird. In my experience of it, where I could have seen it ending just because it was being weird. And even now, like you're saying, people are like, do we need it? And some people at some point are going to go, and this has been challenged like multiple times since like 2015 at this point, where people are like, because of the internet, we don't need it anymore. Because of YouTube, we don't need it anymore. Because of Gunbroker, we don't need it anymore. Because of, fill in the blank, NRA show, we don't need it anymore. Because of USCCA, right? We don't need it anymore. USCCA, how long did that one last? NRA show, NRA carry guard show. Like that was a whole show
Nice.
just for that. That happened like once, I think. So, there was all these things that were going to be SHOT Show killers. SHOT Show still doing its thing because it allows all the gun shops to show up and do their thing in Vegas in like 4 days. And
In winter, let's
yeah,
not
when
let's
they're
not leave
not
that
doing
out.
shit otherwise, right? Like they just got done doing all their holiday sales. So it's just a
So
good
that's all.
timing for everybody to get together. It's sort of a vacation. As industry and like as media looking at the industry, we have all these weird opinions of it because of we got all
Mhm.
the time in the world, or we have different schedules and shit. But anyway, what you're talking about is a show that's for the public, and for the companies themselves to take that same booth from SHOT Show and go show it to the public and the end user, versus what's happening at SHOT Show. Here's this gun, and here's why you're going to want to buy it, because if you buy 8 of them, we're going to give you 2. That's
Mhm.
what's happening at SHOT Show. Or like, if you
Yep.
buy 6 of these guns, we'll give you that rifle. Oh, you want that rifle? The only way you get it is if you buy 60 of these other guns, and you can tell us which ones you want. That's what's happening at SHOT Show. So that the gun shop has to go, shit, I want to be able to say I've got this rifle in stock, but now I got to sell 100 of your pistols. Like, shit, now I got to be a dealer. You know what I mean? Like, maybe I could get a police department to buy 10 of these, or maybe I could go in with like 4 other gun shops, and I'll buy the ones and I'll get my rifle, and then they'll, you know what I mean? And he's thinking like, I got to sell it to like, $10 off to them. You know what I mean? Like, that's the kind of shit that happens at SHOT Show. And the manufacturers are standing around being bored while that shit's happening, or the distributors are figuring out how they can make a buck, in making this happen. Hey, buy it, we'll buy 1,000 of them, get those 8 rifles from you, and then we'll just hold on to them in our warehouse and like force everybody to buy them throughout the year instead of buying them all at once like you're trying to do. And all that kind of deals are happening in SHOT Show. You go to like the one in Pennsylvania, and now it's those same people, probably, maybe, depending on the size of the company.
Yeah.
Most of the time, I'd say it's the same people, except
Mhm.
instead of having to talk to gun shops and people like us, now they're talking to people like us and somebody who's just buying their gun. And most of the
Yep.
time, people aren't like, okay, Colt, like, I want to buy a Ruger. You have to sell me your Colt. Instead, they're like, oh, this is cool. Can you show me how it works? Or like, is this like the one
Yep.
in the movie? You know what I mean? They're just
Mhm.
a whole different thing. And they actually get to probably enjoy it because they're actually talking to people who actually use their product, and not to people who are like, what do you mean I only make 8% on this? I need to make 9% or I'm going out of business.
Yeah. So that was really cool. Um, that you do get to talk to real people, and it's funny, and 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 thinking about the conversation that we had. They were like, dude, I don't know what happened, but you left and the conversations with people that came by got dumber and dumber. Because that's happening. You're dealing with real people, and it's sometimes some dumb people show up saying weird, dumb things that they've heard, half heard, and they want to argue with the people that work for the manufacturer. No, that's not how that works, guy. That I designed it. Yes, that's how it works. What? Yeah, yeah. I'm the designer of the firearm that you're talking about. No, it doesn't, and walk off. That was actually kind of a conversation that happened at Great American Outdoor Show. But for the most part, they really do. And I'm talking, conversations I have with people I know. They have fun talking to some of these people. It's good to meet regular dang people and talk about what they want, see, and. But it's a 9-day show, so eventually, you're kind of tired of it. Usually, the companies sometimes, depending on the side of the company, rotate people out. So the second half of the show has different people than the first half because it happens on Super Bowl over Super Bowl weekend.
Well, and it's
Also,
so what's the word? Like adjacent to SHOT Show, across the country from SHOT Show, and because it's been around for I can't remember 2015 maybe or 9 or something is when I first heard about it, and then like 15 it's put its foot in its mouth. Then it or maybe
hmm
I don't remember. It did something. It was gone for a year or two, and then it came back, and then it's had time to live since then. But
I don't,
I think that it's a little bit well, it's a lot unique, and for all those reasons. But then it's also in a part of the country where it ain't easy getting to SHOT Show. I mean, it is technically easy to get to SHOT Show because there's so many flights going to Vegas, but that don't mean
hmm
nothing if you just that time of year is not easy for you, or for a million other reasons you can't get to SHOT Show, or you just don't want to pay to fly that far. Although I have no
hmm
idea what it costs to fly from the East Coast over there, but whatever. This one is in a part of the country that I'm not going to say is ignored, but it is ignored because it costs so much to go up by that part of the country. Like there's just not a lot. Well, there is probably large venues. I shouldn't say that. There's like Woodstock and shit, but it does cost a bunch of money to get up there. And so I think for that reason, a lot of times you don't see anything up there. So it's in a part of the country that would otherwise be neglected. The southeast is super neglected. There's a couple of things happen in Atlanta, I guess, but
hmm
overall, most of the stuff tends to happen out west, where I think venues are just cheaper, and because of travel and stuff. I don't know why, but then every once in a while, stuff happens in the Midwest still. But anyway, I think that one is unique, and also because it covers 2 weekends. Like
hmm
you say, it puts a different kind of stress, and I don't even want to say opportunity. It's got to be a stress and a challenge to companies to just staff it or deal with it, choose to be there type of thing. And then it
So I noticed smaller booths at Great American Outdoor Show this year.
smaller than
S-
normal.
Yeah, smaller than normal booths for a lot of these people. I've watched Colts
I
booth
mean, I think
shrink.
it was
I've
like that
watched.
at SHOT Show too. SHOT Show
Mhm.
shuffled, like they did the SHOT Show
Yep.
shuffle this year, and I don't know that messed with me for sure because I'm not good at memorizing nothing. But I suspect it seems like a lot of booths went from 4 to 1, whatever. Like some years they'd be 4 or 8, like a whole island or whatever. This year, one little segment, whatever, 12 by 12 booth.
Yep. So that's what I saw there. So those are the two things two industry shows I went to, and then we had two diversity shoots. One at the beginning of February, one at the end of February. One at Great Gun for Hire Range. It was great actually being there, kicking off year 11 of the diversity shoots. And we had some new people there, and my guys got to introduce, and we actually had another volunteer come through, a guy named Eric from High Caliber Ordnance, which is a like 2-year-old gun shop that's here in Jersey. And he was like, "Hey, man, I finally had time off, and I really want to support the work you do. So I'm here. Stick me in a port." And he showed up with his own guns and brought some of his own ammo, which was cool. Um, because I actually went to his 1 year anniversary, which was last year, 1 year anniversary, and I was the first person to purchase something at their 1 year anniversary. I bought 1,000 rounds of nine for the diversity shoot, so it was pretty cool that he came around and was like, "Hey, I'm here to volunteer at your event." So that was cool because we already have Aberdeen Guns and Ammo volunteering at our event, and the more the merrier. So we have multiple gun stores that we work with and work with us. So that gives our attendees an opportunity to actually talk to gun shop owners at events. And they're kind of blown away by that. Like, what? Yeah, he owns a gun shop. They work at a gun shop. So if you want to get something, oh yeah, and there's a gun shop here at the range. So there's people all around to help you, or if you have questions, or if you want to buy accessories, you can come back to this range. And depends on how far it is from that house. It might be convenient, it might be inconvenient. Anyway, we had two events. They were great, and then I flew down to Florida for this 2A Freedom Fest, which was in the ninth year. Kevin Sona heads that up, but he works with a lot of other people to head that up.
Now, this is not at WOF.
Nope, this is an hour away from Waft.
Oh, okay.
So it's an hour and change away from WAP because I showed up, and as we were driving, I was driving because Valentina and I flew in like 2 hours apart from Jersey, which was hilarious. We flew in 2 hours apart, and she was like, "Hey, I rented a car." I was like, "Okay, cool. Can I catch a ride with you?" She was like, "Oh no, you're driving." I'm like, "Oh, okay." So, so I drove out, and as I'm driving, I'm starting to recognize stuff from when I was at WAFT like 3 years ago. Intersections and stuff. And I'm like, wait a minute. Yo, how close are we to WAFT? So I pulled it up and it was on the way because we stayed in Orlando and drove out to WAFT every day, which was an hour and change every morning. We'd wake up, leave the hotel at 6 and be at WAFT like at 20 minutes after 7 to start up every morning. So anyway, drove out and got to meet Kevin, got to meet a lot of the people that were setting it up the day prior because it's held at Runaway Campers. If you don't know who they are, they make campers, small tow behind campers that weigh like 750-pound curb weight.
Oh, okay. So that building that they're in is like one of the buildings that they build them in, probably.
Assembly building, yep.
I
That's
got
the
you.
assembly building for the campers.
I think for
They
some
sell.
reason I thought it was like a campground.
I did too. But okay, so the camper place actually is on property and they have outside, obviously, uh, but not far away from where they assemble that. They have a campground where they like have alumni come and stay on certain alumni weekends and stuff like that. And because they had that, and the guy who set it up and started the company is a Second Amendment advocate, he was like, "Look, have the event here. People can stay and camp out here, and they don't have to get a room in Ocala, or they don't have to go all the way back to Orlando. They can actually pitch tents and stay here, and we charge a nominal fee because they have plumbing, showers, bathrooms, all that stuff set up there." In a very cool manner, like the shower stalls are all built from the same material as their campers, so it's pretty cool. But check out Runaway. What is it? What did I say? Runaway Campers. Because again, this is another company that's not a firearms company, but they are Second Amendment supporters, and I think that is kind of cool.
No, it's
That
super
this,
cool, really, because we want to be as capitalists, use our wallets as part of our flex, right? Like part of our
hmm
effort, and knowing in that case a company that makes a camper, it's good to know. If you got a choice to buy one.
yeah. So and since I was in the room with the stuff, I wanted to check it out. So they have runaway campers. They have something called a rouser camper, which is like a 6 foot tall box, but they're small. Again, I think they have like 1,000-pound curb weight. Like you can tow their camper with a freaking Prius. You know what I mean? Yeah. What is this? I'm looking at something right now. Runaway camper tour, 570-pound curb weight is like 5 grand. Their campers, you outfit them yourself. You pick all the options. I think it's between. We looked it up because it was just interesting. I wanted to actually give these people props and let people know about them. It's like a 7 to 8 thousand dollars for their shorter camper called the Range Runner, and it's a lot of room in it. It's room inside enough for uh, to lay down to actually set up. If you put it together right, you can lounge inside one of those suckers, and it has a freaking built-in air conditioner. Like you can choose that and a lot of other stuff. So check it out. Please, just for no other reason, to increase their traffic and even shoot them a freaking thank you email for supporting the Second Amendment. So at the same time they're doing that, they're having a food drive. They do a food drive using that, and they had one of the guys running for governor. He was there, and he worked with them and put together something. So the very first year they did it, they came up with like 350, I think, meals to feed people. So they came up with 350 meals. Second year, which was last year, they had 750 meals that they put together, which was great. This year, because they hooked up with the guy that was running for governor and another guy that was doing something else, and because the outreach increases every year, they came with two full box trucks of food. Kevin didn't even get a count on it. So that was what they had going on. So again, so I got in one of the back of the. I didn't get into the back of it. Valentina did. Valentina wanted to take pictures and show the size of the sucker because I did a walk around, but I wasn't gonna climb in something like that in case I got stuck. They had to cut it open and get me out. But actually, there's room inside that you can sit and lounge. That small thing right there. Uh, I saw pretty cool stuff. If you look it up on YouTube, people give you run through of how they customize theirs. Because you got that, then you can have the electricity on top with the solar panels, and then you can have the rollout on the side with a what do you call that? The shade. What do you call those things you can roll out of the side of the camper
Yeah.
to be
Oh
under
no, an awning, an awning.
awning? Yeah, awning. So I saw a lot of that. It's crazy though because they in no way highlighted their product at the event. It's in that building you saw everybody in. That building's 100 yards long. The building's 100 yards long, and they just had the lights off and uh, like other stuff between that you couldn't really just see it. But they in no way had one of their campers so people could get in and out of it. Nothing. Like they didn't highlight their products at all. It was just because they have the sales. What do you call it? The sales lot across the street. So
Okay, now I get the idea. This one is tall, like a full size door or whatever close
yes.
to. This one's kind of
Hmm.
medium. It's got a medium
Hmm.
sized door. And this one is like you crawl in there kneeling down. This one's same way, but there's just a little bit more headroom. And then
Yep.
this one, like you could walk in there, I guess.
Yeah. So you got
So
the
to
the the
walk in
short.
there, it's like 10 grand. And
Yep.
it's like you're saying, appealing because it's on a little whatever 4x8, a 6x8 platform, but it's a nice insulated, sound insulated, cold insulated, a little bit aerodynamic. And then, you got a decent door, you got a window, you got,
You got
you can
more
just
room in
cobble
there.
it together or whatever, but then you can customize it yourself. So I've been looking
Hmm.
at like contractor trailers or like a horse trailer. This
Yep.
is an
Gotcha.
alternative to trying to mod one of those things that are probably gross. Or if you bought
Yep.
one brand new, you're paying this price. Like if you buy a brand
Hmm.
new contractor trailer, you're paying every bit of this.
Yep.
And then it's
So
empty. And then you got to do all this, which is going to cost you a fortune. This is super appealing. This is
and
really
one
cool,
shot
actually.
stop. They got everything there. So because I was looking at some of this too, and again, this wasn't part of anything they did. So after the event Saturday around ended around 2 o'clock in the afternoon. We went to dinner, we hung out, whatever. But afterwards, I wanted to look at that. So Valentina and I walked back looking at it, and then she went and did her thing, and Kevin was like, "Yo, you want to check out the larger one?" So I'm wondering if it's the if not
The
the
Rouser.
more the whatever one's the bigger one, or if they're developing a new one. I saw something said 2026. It has more floor space, and actually, he was walking around with me showing how they taped it out because it was just the flat part. There were no walls on it. It was just the trailer itself,
I gotcha.
and
Yeah.
he had it taped out to how they were going to have the shower counters, all kinds of stuff that you can do everything in there. And I think it's pretty freaking cool
Yeah.
that you can get something like that for a cost of for used car. And again, the weight is so low that you can tow it with a light truck or SUV or minivan. Like you can tow that little thing. I think the smaller one was what?
It's like
Again,
almost a
almost six.
motorcycle or something. Yeah.
Yeah, 600 pounds. Come on, dude. Now, of course, you have to take into account how much stuff you put in it, but you're not putting more than a bed couple pieces of furniture in the refrigerator, like any of them. You're not making this your second home.
No. Well,
Well, you know what I mean. Like you can have a bedroom kitchen slash thing, throw the awning up, have solar on top of it,
having something
and you.
like this, if you were going to do the tiny home, like traveling for a
Hmm.
year type of thing, you drag
Yep.
this behind as a car, and now you can have a place that you can, as long as you got a place you can securely park this, then you can go do your thing with your car. You're leaving your house behind, but then you can drag your house with you real easily. So I could
Yep.
see this being semi long term. Is all I'm getting at. It seems
Yeah. If
solid.
you
Like, I mean, it seems like a good
because
design.
yeah, with and again checking them out, checking out the durability because they have the shower doors that you're staying at, like on the side. My wife said shower looks kind of like a horse trailer. Yeah, it's about 6 feet wide. It's about the size of one of their things. It's built on the side of the building. That they have the showers with lockable doors and everything, and you could go in. So I'm looking at what these things are made of and how durable they are. Yeah, they're not frayed. They're not garbage. I was impressed. I was impressed by everything there. And again, in no way did they highlight that. Like they didn't go, "Hey, now let's time to do a tour of my business." Like he just came out and he spoke for like 3 minutes about how he started it and how they ended up having the event at that location because he was friends with Kevin and those guys and they wanted to do something for the
You keep
Second
saying
Amendment.
Kevin. You mean KD or somebody else?
Oh no, Kevin Sono. Kevin Sono put that together
Oh, okay.
with Florida Carey and all those guys, and they
Oh,
were
okay,
on all
okay. Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah. That's where I remember it from.
time. Yeah. So, oh, in Florida, and the reason they can do it at the campground is because start off as the protest, right? They could only carry in Florida. You can open carry when
When
you're
you're
fishing,
fishing
hunting,
or
or camping.
hunting. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, or camping. Okay.
yeah. So that
Well, because
allowed
the
these guys.
alligators and probably
Yeah,
jaguars and I don't know,
and the
probably something
Ocala.
else. Yeah.
Oh yeah, one more. Hold on. The Ocala herpes monkeys. Look it up.
Oh, snap.
Got nothing else better to do. Yeah. So they got.
I'm not
Yeah.
shooting no monkey. For one thing, come on. Somebody's like, oh, I'm going to shoot a monkey. Good luck. So, second thing
Uh,
is that's why you want a bunch of monkeys because nobody can shoot them.
yeah. Well, that's why there are a bunch of them, but they also have herpes.
Are you
So if
talking like a little monkey or like a good chimpanzee sized big ass monkey?
they look like smaller monkeys, but I don't
So,
know.
like a little squirrel monkey with a tail.
They were laughing at
Um,
my freaking. They were laughing at my shock over the fact that there's herpes monkeys running around there, and of
just
course I'm like,
don't
yeah,
make out with the monkeys and you don't have to worry about it.
yeah, but if it herpes, my thing is this, man. I can come home from Florida and tell my wife I got herpes from a monkey. How you think that gonna go?
That's true. It's hard to explain.
I'm gonna have to bring back a body. And it was funny. So we're all hanging out in a tent because, of course, Patrick Collins rolls into a place. He doesn't have a pup tent. He brings the Shangri La, and he only bought a third of it. And we still were able to fit a full size bed and two queen size beds in there.
Oh, you guys
So
camp in a tent out
yeah,
there.
oh
Nice.
yeah, because I was definitely gonna get a freaking hotel room. I wasn't sleeping outside. And Patrick was like, "Yo, dude, if you pick up an air mattress, you can stay in the tent with me." So I went and picked up a queen size air mattress at Walmart's, and came back from Walmart's with that and stayed in that camp. And it
So
was
that
it
work
was a
all
lot.
right?
Yeah, it worked out great, man. Had a lot of fun.
Right
Got
on.
to hang out with the guys. Got Craig from Coffee with Craig, who was with FPC. Craig DeLuz, if you
Duluth.
don't know him. Yeah. So Craig and I are cool. We just never got to hang out. So the closest we got to hang out was at NRA last year. We were in podcasting right beside each other all week.
He always hangs out with Mike. Was Mike there too?
Mike didn't show up till the end after it was over with. But Mike from Arms Room Radio,
Right.
just started his own cigar brand. So he's gonna have cigars. He's gonna launch it soon. He gave out a few of those and came by and said hi and dropped some stuff off. And then he had to get out of there. He was like, "Yeah, the bad thing about it is," he said, "this is so close to where I live and work that I don't have time. Like I have clients, and it interrupted my time, and I couldn't get out and speak because I was working. He was like every time you try to walk away or do something, you're so close that it's like, yeah, I'm going to be an hour up the road. Oh, since you're going to only be an hour away here, great. So he missed it. It sucked because I like hanging out with Mike too. But he came through with the cigars, and we took some photos. And I told him, hey, when you launch it, I'll talk about it. You know what I mean? I'll do videos on it because it's cool when you have somebody again in the firearms industry with an interest outside of gun stuff. Because it's that whole Venn diagram of interest. And if one of your cigar smoking buddies has never shot a gun, they can actually talk about it with you because they know you. You know, you smoke sticks together, you sipped good whiskey together. And oh, I've always been anti-gun, or I didn't feel either way about it, but they say this and this. Yeah, they're lying to you, and this is why. Now they're listening to you because you know them in another way uh, that isn't
Well,
firearms dude.
do you think that? I mean, it's a little early to tell, but
Hmm.
I think the potential is there, theoretically, I guess, that somebody
Oh,
who was like, let's say in the middle, I really didn't care one way or the other. And I think there's probably more people than we believe, like more people than we can understand, like in that
yeah.
pile. So I think that if people are in that pile and never even thought about guns, it's like it's a hobby I don't care about the same way I don't
Hmm.
think about violins. Like there's probably a whole world of violins that I don't know shit about. The whole like fiddle versus Stradivarius debate or something that I don't know about.
Yep.
So if somebody's like, "Oh, what are you saying? You can buy a suppressor now and it's not a hassle?" Like now all of a sudden I want to go buy a gun because I just want to make sure what like the gun I'm buying is going to be a quiet gun. So I don't want to
Hmm.
buy like let's say and they don't know how to say it, but they don't want to buy like a revolver when they want to buy a semi-auto so that it's actually quiet, or ideally maybe even a bolt action so they can get the quietest because all they want to do is go shoot quietly. And that was the hang up. They don't like loud shit, but they had no problem with shooting. And now that they can go out with their friends and everybody will be quiet, they don't have to yell at each other. It's not, whatever. Who cares why somebody would not like loud noises? You don't have to have a reason for it. But you know what I mean? Like all of a sudden, now that guns aren't going to be annoying, oh, now I care. Now I could see participating in it, or I might even want to go do it by myself. And that's where, so it's just like if the other way around, like if somebody said or thought to themselves, what I want to do is smoke a cigar. Oh, I know
Yep.
so and so smokes cigars. Let me go ask them. So yeah, you're that person, or we are potentially as gun owners that person. As hopefully people are like, oh, I can get a rifle and it's not huge. Like I can get one like that cool one I saw in that movie or in that comic book or something, or a quiet gun or whatever. Then
See,
yeah,
that's what bothers me the most because as gun people, people tend to put all they create this thing about why somebody want a gun. And it could be as freaking simple as, yo, dude, I always wanted one of those freaking, Berettas from Resident Evil. I always wanted one of those. I thought it was really cool. You mean I can buy one? Yeah, dude, you didn't know that? No, no, I've never really been into guns. I didn't know anybody that was, but I know you. We've been smoking cigars together for like a year now. And I hear you every now and again talking about it. So what do you mean? We can get suppressors on it now? Yeah. Oh, like Leon the professional stuff? Like, yes. Like, let's not act as if that's not a way in for somebody because they don't want to get it to, fight for their rights, or they don't want to get it to protect their family because they haven't had that experience or even thought yet. But I can get a movie gun. I can get a gun quiet as the ones in the movies with a suppressor on it. Yeah, if you shoot 22 or subsonic 9 or 45, yeah, cool. How much would it cost? Because I'm thinking a gun is like $7,000, $8,000 if you want it to be, but we can get you something cool. And now you're having a conversation, and you don't even have to bring up the politics. You can get them to the range shooting, and that can just be a way in. And it could happen in anything, and we see it happen in anything. But the more venue and the more we go ahead and support people like Mike, like who else? Who else has stuff outside? Just anybody who has an outside interest besides firearms. If we support their businesses and things, those conversations can happen
well, you were
organically.
just talking about the trailer place, but then you always, well, you don't always, but you have mentioned in the past the pizza places that have helped you out for your shoots, and those are,
Hmm.
I mean, pizza is universal, but they're also not gun necessarily.
Yeah, it's not gun. It doesn't have to be. Oh yeah, Jan shoots. What, my waitress? Yeah. Oh, cool. Where does she go? Boom. Damn. Conversation. Hey, I heard you the gun guy because that happens to me all the time at work. What do you think about this? I mean, even finally, my supervisor, that was the funny one. Yeah, I'm thinking about getting a firearm, and I know you know what you're talking about. All right, cool. This is what we do. And
Oh, so hold on. You've been talking about your time there, but what is the thing in Florida? Like, we talked
okay,
about how
so
it kind of started as a thing from Florida Carry, but what was the point of it?
so it morphed into it kept getting bigger. More people wanted to come out, and then they started reaching out to people to speak there. Now, Kevin talked to me. Kevin Sona was talking about how he got into it. He got into it, introduced to Second Amendment advocacy through Rick Ector, who is a friend and also from Legally Armed in Detroit, and he hosts an event every year that he instructs 1,000 women a year or more now. Comes up, we have instructors from across the country, and they introduce females to firearms for the first time. Ladies that live in Detroit, and they bring out their whole family. So anyway, that inspired Kevin to take his thing to the next level and bring speakers down to Florida and bring Floridians in that actually want to learn how to be advocates and grow the community. So it had, I think they don't even charge for tickets, by the way. You just have to sign up for a ticket, and they sold almost, I mean, not sold, but had almost 300 people register this year, which is really cool. I think he needs to start selling tickets because some people didn't come because they had no skin in the game. You know what I mean? If you
Well,
charge,
that'll happen. But
yeah.
like, okay, so 300 is a number. How big? First, my question is, how big is the facility? Like, how many people could have showed up? Do you think?
Oh, significantly more because again, like
Okay.
I told you, the building we were in is 100 yards long.
And then the other question would be, if 300 signed up, did like 280 show up, or did like 80 show up? Like, how many
Oh
people did
no,
show
no,
up? Was it
no.
like a lot?
Yeah, yeah, a lot showed up. They filled up most of the seats. It did not look empty. All right,
Okay.
because they had seats out for nearly 300 people. And it
Okay.
didn't look empty. There was just room between the seats, and I totally got it because same things happen sometime at my event. 10 people show up in a room built for 30. Hey, nobody came, haha. Hmm,
Yeah.
well, 10 people drove through a rainstorm. Yeah, that's pretty impressive. So anyway, yes, that's what happened. But they also had vendors there. Sticky Holsters were there. Patrick from Gun Food actually had a tent set up, and he was selling ammo. He also did a giveaway. Guess how many rounds of ammo is in this container, kind of thing. He gave that away. Um, One of the candidates for governor was there, and it was really annoying watching him and his media team. Like every time he talked to somebody, they were taking a picture of it. This guy in a wheelchair, all of a sudden he rushes to help push the guy through the door to get a picture. I was like, ugh. So Kevin and not Kevin, Craig Deleuze and myself, we did an interview outside at a picnic at a folding table. And Craig was like, hey, could you help me carry the table inside so we can get in the back? So him and I picked the table up and we're walking with it, a decent sized table. All of a sudden, here comes friggin' candidate for governor gonna help the black guy and the other black guy lift something for a great photo, and we were inside too quick for him to get to us. It's like, go away, dude. Look for your photo opportunities elsewhere. Not that he's a bad guy. It was just like
Just weird. Yeah, it's like artificial.
it. And truthfully, if he was there just being a regular dude, and I'm sure he is a regular dude because he helped with the food drive. It just I understand what they were doing. They had to take pictures for content, but because he's running for political office, it just looked a little bit forced, and I don't blame him. But it was annoying to see it firsthand. Like, can't you just be cool, bro? And he was trying. Listen, every second is taken up because he's actually running for governor of Florida. So good for him.
That's true. And he could have not been there, right?
Yeah, he could have not been there, and he was there standing firmly for the Second Amendment and trying to make the best of his time. So yeah, if he gets to push a dude in the wheelchair, if he gets to shake a baby and kiss a mom, or kiss a mom and shake a baby, or whatever the heck, let him. But it was still funny to watch.
Well, let's
So
see. This is two
oh,
o'clock. So this is, well,
okay,
no. Yeah. no, this can't be right. This is 2 hours into the show. So we started or whatever. So an hour
Yeah.
ago, somebody asked a question, but we were chatting about other stuff, and I figured, it's not like an urgent question with a time frame. Now that person may have left. I don't recognize the name. I noticed that, like most of the people out here, YouTube did something to us, and I don't remember when it happened, but like I don't know why mine is clear. It might be because I'm in here hosting it or whatever. But and like Fotz's is okay because it seems kind of okay. Yours is pretty much okay. But like, see how Outcast has numbers in his? Packrat figured his out. But YouTube went in and screwed with everybody, with a lot of most everybody's usernames
Screen
when
name?
you're in the chat. Yeah. So this is why I don't know if this person, if what their name is supposed to be, because it's all goofy. Maybe it's a video game thing I don't know about. But anyway, their question is, what's your opinion on Zastava AKs? I seen one for a good deal and kind of want to buy it. Well, I understand that. So it's just Zastava is Yugoslavian, and
Yeah.
since all the Soviet, whatever you call them, like daughter countries, the countries that they took over and said, we're going to step on your neck and you're going to do what we tell you. They basically said, you're all going to use 7.62 by 39, period, and you're all going to build AKs. And some of them, like China, said, yes, sir, give us the plans. And they pretty much made what they were told. And then with very few alterations. And then other countries said, all right. And then looked at the plans and then did what they want. Czechoslovakia is probably the country that was like, are you sure you have to make it? Well, they did the most extremely different thing within the tolerant. But Zastavas are one of the extremes that went to the more sturdy, they looked at Tula, who makes the strongest Russian AKs, and they looked at their factory and said, hold my beer, or whatever they drink in Yugoslavia. What do they drink in Yugoslavia? Mead or Turkish wine? I don't know. Whatever they drink, he said, hold it. And then they made a super strong one. So if China and Tula and Yugo and maybe a couple that I'm forgetting make them in 1.5 millimeter thick steel. Everybody else makes them in 1. So these are thicker pieces of metal that they bend, like the metal taco that an AK is made out of. And that makes them more sturdy and robust. It makes them heavier. So lightweights, 9 millimeter shooters, left-handed people that don't like carrying weight don't like them because they're heavier. And some people don't like them, so they look goofy or something. Like there's some cosmetic things about Yugoslavian ones, but they have a little different handguard that's a little heavier. Again, they're usually made out of solid wood as opposed to plywood, so I'm assuming a little bit heavier, beefier for sure. Like there's more to hold on to sometimes, and they're not sleek. And then, like I say, they're thicker steel, so they've got some bulges in them. They've got bulges in the trunnion that also, just because they went from like the strongest AKs and said, we'll make our lightest, smallest AK based on this like frame of the strongest AK. So their smallest AKs, even their cranks, have bulges in thick steel, which I think is awesome. Like I'm more of like the Marine mindset. Like, oh, you can make it thicker and stronger and last forever. I'll take that versus what would be like the Navy or the Air Force, who are like, can you make it out of aluminum and as thin as possible and maybe with holes in it, so it's the lightest possible. I understand that, but I'm not into that as much. So I'm a big fan of the Zastavas. That being said, all of these things were made during the Cold War for the most part at countries, right? Or at factories in countries. And some countries had more than one factory, some of them didn't. Honestly, with Zastava, I don't even know all of it, but the gist of it is they made them during the Cold War, and then after the Cold War, they're like, we could destroy our factory, or we could keep making these things because USA will buy them, right? Other countries will buy them. So they kept making them. So saying Zastava is like saying, I don't know, Jeep, right? Like you can get a World War II Jeep that's all green and was like made during the war and is a World War II Jeep, right? Or you could go get a Jeep that was made yesterday. They're both Jeeps. So saying it's a Zastava is one thing. I think Zastava, and I think cool Cold War thing made by the Yugos. I don't even know all the history of Yugo fighting, but they fought shit, right? Like they actually did shit. So there's Zastavas out there that have seen war, I don't know where. Like I don't say I don't pay enough attention to their history to know where, if because sometimes they pick up their guns and go help another country fight. Sometimes they were ordered to. Sometimes they're defending something in their own country. Like I don't know what the history. Didn't Yugoslavia fight their own independence or some shit? Like they may. I don't know what the
Yes.
deal is. So I'm not a Yugoslavian. I have no like patriotism to that, but I understand the concept of like if I can buy a gun that's seen war, like that's seen something, even if it's seen training for people that are going to war, that gun is way higher in the I have a higher opinion of that gun than just some gun that coming off the line. So Zastabas are better guns in the mechanical way. They're cooler guns on the spectrum because of they're from an outlying country that's pretty cool compared to some of the boring outlying countries. And then some of them are hardcore, like they've got trench art on them. Most of everything I've got that's Yugo has trench art. Like my stuff I intentionally got is like handpicked to be stuff that came from somewhere to where somebody was literally so bored of sitting around, so scared and bored probably that they carved shit into their guns. I like that. I think that's cool as hell. And that's one of the features of the Zastabas that I think is appealing or like of value. Other people hate that part of it, but they can also, I guess I do own, I think I still own a virgin kit. So that means somebody went into the factory and just took, went to all the different barrels of parts and bins and stuff and a bag, and they just took all the parts before they were ever assembled into a gun, put those into a bag and sold them to the United States. And
Mm-hmm.
those you can buy. And that's interesting. It's super neat, but it's never seen anything like anything close to any kind of actual action or anything. So Zastabas can be made for like Century Arms or whoever imported them. Like I don't know who all imported them, but somebody imported them on the East Coast probably,
Mm-hmm.
and by the billions or thousands or something. And those again were like contracted to be sold to the United States in semi-auto. Are those as appealing as like something that was full auto and then was used in war somewhere, or these battles somewhere, and then was chopped up by a hacksaw and then was put into a bag and pulled over the United States and then was reassembled into a gun again? Like that has way more interest to me than some gun that was just built in the same factory and then sent to Century and then sent to your gun shop and you bought it. That being said, it's still cooler than one that came from Romania, similar circumstances, made out of one mill, and definitely just was built to be sent to the United States to be shot at a berm. But that's my history from what I can recollect of the Zastavas. Tony's in New Jersey, a little bit different. What do you call it? Like barriers are a little bit different.
Yeah. So
places, goalposts or whatever they're called.
they didn't differentiate between having was it a new Zastava, like newly manufactured Zastava? Was it? What I'm saying is, be careful what you get if it's not a new one, because if it's one of the crazy ones that they imported during the assault ban, because those are out there, it's friggin' reduced to 10 rounds, and then after the assault ban changed, um, it went away. There's a bunch of people that went out and tried to like grind them open or whatever. Remember that? When they imported it into the country during the assault weapons ban, they took those skinny, weird 10 round AK mags. And then after it was over, a bunch of companies decided they were going to open that hole up and make it take regular AK mags. And so those
Or just
bills were,
some guy, right? Like before the internet, even somebody would see
yeah,
like, oh, I could take a Dremel to this and make it work with the other mags.
yeah, make it work with the regular mag. So if it's that, no. New manufacturer, yes. Old school, prior to assault weapons ban, effery, yes. Zastava was one of the good builders. If you want to even watch a tour of their factory, again, the Firearms blog, TFB did it. So check that out. But if it's not one that's been freaking filed on and messed with, it should be good, especially if it's a new manufacturer and it didn't have to go through the Century Arms built by our Angry Monkey effery, because that was a real thing too. Century Arms just
Well, I
had
have
bad.
one that was another level of it where it was turned into a parts kit like I was trying to describe before.
Mhm,
So it was a real gun, real AK or whatever, real whatever they are,
mhm.
and then chopped up into parts, sent to you over here. But then somebody bought it, put it back together, in their garage or in their house or whatever,
Hmm.
and then sold it to a gun shop who was basically like laughing at it and felt sorry for whoever was going to own it, and then sold it to me basically because you would assume that someone's going to buy it, chop it back up, and rebuild it because it was just a poorly put together home job or whatever. And
Hmm.
there's that. So, and because it's that kind of a gun that has such a long history of importation variability or whatever, there's that layer too. So just saying Zastava, there's just not enough info to give you a solid answer. Anybody that would give you a solid answer is thinking of one of the variants we've talked about and giving
Yep.
you opinion of that, either not aware of the 8 other ones, because we haven't talked about all the other variants, but you know, in the I guess the difference between all of these, like the vast difference between them, because the gun I have, I bought, I think, for $200 because you know they were like, you're going to take this apart, right? Like it's not a good one, and you know, you can tell it's just sloppily built and whatever. But um anyway, you know what I mean, it compared to just even one that came out of the factory in a sloppy tolerance, this one is a whole nother level. And you're going to find those out there. Like I say, some shops, if you can imagine a shop that's not familiar with AKs, how would they know? It's just that I
Yep.
happen to have bought it at a time when this was apparent because so many people were buying and selling these things like that.
Yeah, people don't know. So, so yeah, almost a buyer beware thing. Hopefully, we told you enough that you know there's different types and you can check it out. But yes, think they're good guns if it's factory new, or if it's old school, not been molested and was put together correctly.
And I'll say, all that being said, like not every gun needs to go to war. You can have a gun that's just being barely held together with chicken wire because you just care that it looks cool. It fits a spot in your collection or whatever. Just be
One
aware
hundred
that you're
percent.
not taking it to war or whatever.
Yeah, that's a little annoying too. Everybody acts like somehow I'm going to be fighting zombies off tomorrow night. It's like, can I just have fun?
Well, it should
Can I
be
have it
yes,
just because I like
and
this?
like yes, that is a possibility, and you should be prepared for it. And you can also have other guns that don't necessarily go to that goal.
Yep.
All right, well, we're 2 hours in. I know you got other stuff you got to be going to do today,
Yep.
so hopefully we answered the question or two that came in today, but we're at least back up to current.
Yeah. Current events. Yeah. Because that was a crazy month and a half.
For me, it was like interesting because I bought the cop car, but for you, like I
Yeah.
can't imagine you've been going all over the place and working in between all this stuff.
Oh yeah. 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 Definitely. Regular job.
Oh, I
One,
should say,
two.
and we kind of talked about it, but like working during snowstorms in between all this.
Yeah. True. What car? Crown Vic.
No, I had a Crown Vic. I was and it's just sitting there because it's been neglected for years, so I just technically still own it, but it hasn't run in a while. So I have had a cop car, or I guess I do own a cop car. But then I have the van, right? And the van is a
Hmm.
long wheelbase, and that's the worst part about it, is that it's just so long that it's a pain to park places and to drive around and stuff. I can't make U-turns half the time because it's just too long, and it kills gas. It's like just a big van. So it's
Yeah.
great for road trips and all that kind of stuff. And I'm not, you know, for hauling stuff around, it's ideal from what I use it for. But I was looking around at the auctions for just like a Ford Ranger, basically, or an S10, like a little
Hmm.
truck that I could drive around town, still use it as a truck, but you know, just a little thing. And as I was looking through these auctions, I went to one. Let's see, I went to an auction place and looked at the vehicles for a bunch of different fleet vehicles, some different pickup trucks and stuff. And really expensive pickup trucks were going for like 3-4 grand. And I was like, oh, okay, I'm going to pay attention to these for a little while, even though I might get one that's a little bigger than I want. If I get it at a great deal, you know, I'll take a
Hmm.
bigger pickup truck. Anyway, I'm watching a couple of things and they just went for way more than I wanted to spend. I really
Oh,
wanted a good deal. I think I might have talked about it, or I guess maybe not, because this wasn't before SHOT Show. But anyway, so I was casually looking for an inexpensive drive around town car, or truck ideally. And then I went to look at them, and that's when I discovered they had like 12 or 2 dozen cop cars, Crown Vics, in the parking lot at this auction place. And I just kind of said, "Hey, what's the deal?" And he said, "Oh, those are all ideal. Like they all run great. Like blah blah blah. They just got rid of them or whatever, but they're all perfect cars. Like they're really good deals." And he said they all start at like $300 or something. So I was like, oh crap, I guess I'm getting a new Crown Vic. So
Hmm.
because I just figured that'd be a great deal. And then same thing, like I wanted the one I wanted, which had the best paint, just looked the nicest or whatever, went to like 1,200, and I'm like, man, all right, I won't get a Crown Vic. Anyway, I'm saying a long story is I was kind of I was casually looking for a car, kind of got diverted into these cop cars. And then the next auction that came up, I'm still casually looking for an inexpensive car, but then this Tahoe, so that's what it is. It's a Tahoe, an
Oh,
SUV,
nice.
right? Came up and it was just sitting there. Nobody was bidding on it. And it was just a great looking one. So I bid on it and I figured it would get bid up, but I figured I got to throw something on it. Anyway, long story short, I got it. And,
Nice.
or I won it. Nobody else bid on it. And I was like, oh, dang, I guess I own a Tahoe now. Never had any idea, but luckily it all worked out. And like I'd never went and looked at it. I just was bidding on it based on the theory that it seems like it should be worth more than this. And like I say, based on the pictures or whatever, and it works great, knock on wood. It's running great and it decent paint and everything. So I've been able to enjoy kind of whatever refurbishing, I guess you'd say, bringing his
Hmm.
12 years, it's 12 years old, 14 years old, living in Arizona, probably outside its whole life. The black part of the black and white is pretty trashed. So I've been learning how buying crap and then applying that stuff, knowledge and, stuff to the paint to try to get it to basically the whole thing is it says whatever it said for the town, like love, honor, and cherish or some shit down the side. And
Hmm.
it's just kind of weird having love, honor, and cherish written down the side of your vehicle, right? So you peel off the decals and you've got the fresh paint, 12 brand
Uh-huh.
new paint looking next to 12-year-old paint. So it's still there. Even though there's nothing there, it's still there. So the idea was to try to buff up and refurbish the paint around it so that it's not so apparent and it doesn't just say love, honor, and cherish or whatever it said down the sides. And then whatever, Oro Valley down the other fender, and so it's not looking like a cop car and it's not saying that shit on it. So anyway, I spent some amount of time and effort to do that, and that's basically what I've been doing, putting some of the lights and things back into it so I can have fun with it, making videos and things. But anyway, so that's what I got. And then the gas mileage seems to be much better than the van. I mean, I have to do a couple of tanks through it before I know, but
Hmm.
hopefully that was accomplished as well. And it's just super fun to drive. I don't know if you've driven a Tahoe before.
Nah, I've driven other GMs like a Terran, SUV. Yeah,
Okay, I don't
SUV
know
is
that
yeah.
one. So basically, from what I've figured out, the Tahoe is a Suburban with they chop some of it off the back, so it's
Yep.
almost a Suburban, which I didn't realize it was that big. But because this one's a cop car, the PPV they call it, they drop the suspension a little bit, and so that it doesn't have such a high center of gravity, and then make it real stiff so it can go fast. So it's a little slower than I'm guessing a lot of the ones. But for me, the height of this thing is the van I was jumping up into, and the Crown Vic I dropped down into. This thing I just sit on, like it's like going up to a kitchen chair and sitting on it. It's not going up or down. And for me, that's just ideal. I like that. I don't like having to get down. I don't like getting down into the Crown Vic anymore because it feels like I'm in a race car, which is neat. But I also want to fall asleep every time I'm driving anywhere because I'm laying down basically. And I'm underneath everybody nowadays because everybody out here drives trucks or SUVs, right? Nobody drives
Yeah.
cars. So I'm underneath of everybody and I'm literally looking under some cars because, big trucks and semis and shit, I'm looking under them. So I just don't like driving the car anymore unless if I had a little black and white, Crown Vic for $500, I would probably drive it around. But enjoy driving? No. The van I love because I'm up, even though it's just a van, I'm up with the highest 4x4s. I'm way above all the regular cars. So I can
Hmm.
see what's going on and I feel like, nothing's going to surprise me out there. This is sort of in the middle, but anyway, so it's a very comfortable size vehicle. And then because it's not as long as my massively long van, I can park it. I feel like I'm in a little Volkswagen Bug or something. I feel like I can see out all the windows and I can park anywhere.
So
So
what
that
is it?
part
A
I
20?
really like it. Oh,
Was it 2010,
2014. 2014.
14?
So it's
Okay.
12 years old or something.
Yeah, I don't know how many hours it has on it, but it's not as
That's the
beat up
thing.
as it could be.
I figure it's the paint on it is pretty trashed, and it's probably been running, right, pretty much since 2014 or whatever.
Yep.
But 140,000 miles, and it's doing okay. But yeah, you're right. Like, there's no way to know. It's probably been on that whole time. I'm sure it's been out in the sun every single day. Like, I don't think they put them under shade, or you know what I mean. They're probably out doing work all the time. It
So
had a
they
criminal
they
back seat, but it was like unused, like it hadn't been used. It's from a little town that's only about 10 square miles north of Tucson,
hmm,
and the
okay.
back seat was in great shape. So I'm guessing it wasn't used to transport criminals very often. And when I took
Hmm.
that seat out, it's just a big open area for the dogs. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, so those are pretty cool cars if it's not beat to hell and back. Um, yeah, because
I guess
I'm
I could have
looking
been
for the
showing you
same.
pictures all the time. Damn, I didn't think about it, but I'll be posting more
Yeah,
on my
actually,
on my shit.
yeah, I actually pulled some up. I'm looking at different videos on my other PC of Crown. I'm not Crown Vics, Chevy Tahoes, 2017s, 2019. So just to lock in, with myself to see what it looks like. Um, yeah, it's pretty cool. Doesn't have the bull bar or anything on the front, right? It's just plain. Or does it have the bull bar on the front? There you go. Does have the bull bar on the front. Nice. Nice. So what did you use for the paint? Compound? Compounding paste to try to match the colors up? Actually looks kind of good. Are you on mute?
Oh, I
Because
am
I'm
on
not.
mute. Okay.
Okay,
Sorry
cool.
about that. I'm over here talking. So I've answered your questions the whole time too. Sorry. So that was it all dirty first, right?
Okay.
And
Yeah.
then this is after I've taken the vinyl off of the front there. There was like a pink swirl going down it too. And
Hmm.
then whatever it says on the back here. But you can see when you remove the vinyl, you still have the shiny paint, right?
Hmm.
Um, so what did I lose my? Here we go. Let me close this. I have too many windows open. I think I have a couple of. I should have some pictures of the inside of the thing. I think I was using pictures from the auction. That's what happened. So here's what the picture, or here's a picture of what the back seat did look like with the criminal back seat back there, and it's got this
Yeah.
all that going on.
Hmm.
And then somewhere in here, I'll have a picture of once I got rid of the back seat, and that all came out. That whole plastic part is just a big chunk of Kydex. This is the bullet I found behind the seat when I pulled it out. So I'm happy I found a piece of bullet finally in my cop car. 556 Remington. So that's what it looks like when you pull the seat out. So I just have some blankets and crap it back there for now for the dogs. So they've got their own like section of the car for them. Somewhere am I going to have a picture? I think I was depending on pictures of or from the auction, I guess. So let me see if I got. Oh, they're going to be in a different place, maybe. This is riveting for people that are listening.
So yeah, I'm looking up because I like watching this dude who's from Jersey. His name is Chris Fix. I don't know if you
Oh yeah,
followed
yeah.
his stuff.
I've heard of him before. I've seen his stuff, I should say.
All right, so yeah, he has a whole video on how to do that detailed paint stuff and paint scuff. Check out his because it's entertaining and it's close to me, which is hilarious. Because I'm looking at his stuff going, I think I know where this mofo lives.
I watched Chris
Which,
Fix quite a bunch. I think that whenever I was working on maybe this van or the other van, we had a lot of
mhm,
community, right? A lot of people that were into car repair and stuff. So they would help me.
okay,
If I ran into something, I would ask them. These are pictures from the auction, like when I first got it, when I was buying it.
dude, that thing
So,
is cool, bro.
right, it looked pretty decent. And then it's got this drawer in the back. So,
Nice.
right. So that's where I was like, come on, that drawer is totally worth it right there. And
Yeah.
then this came out, and I left this in because it's a roll bar and that can push the seat all the way back with it. So that in the
Okay.
front looks great. Look, the seat looks pretty decent. So I'm like, either a little skinny cop was in here or it just didn't get driven in a bunch. All the center consoles and stuff were pretty awesome. And then like with the Crown Vic, came from Albuquerque. That's what it looked like when I first got it. It had these like pink little triangles on it. I had to get off. The Albuquerque, they just wire snipped everything. Snip, 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 snip. Took all the radios and sirens and junk out, walked away. With this one, they went in and unscrewed, unplugged, right? So all the ends of all my wires are like plugs and screws and whatever
Good.
adapters necessary. So one, it's not just loose wires laying around. Plus, I know like, okay, this was an antenna and this was a USB cord, and this was something else. And then jumping back to these pictures, I think I still got some better pictures. This is what it looks like in the console. So I've got like hundreds of bucks worth of cool stuff in here and relays and jumpers and stuff and things to make sure that the charger doesn't go down. Things for the laptop charger and all this. Like it's just all sweet. Like they didn't take the wire cutters to nothing. I don't know if you can tell down here, but like all the ends of the wire, all the ends of these cords are just the plugs and stuff. So it's going to be possible to put everything back in there or whatever if I want to.
Yeah, there's a couple reasons. Sometimes people do it because they're just a-holes and don't care. Other times is, hey, before the end of the day, make sure you get all that stuff out the vehicle.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Get 8 of these done in one shift. And it's like, well, the only way
Yeah.
I'm going to be able to do that is to do this. So anyway, so
Yep.
as far as that goes, it's been fun to screw around with it and stuff. And then one time I figured out a place where I could go. What's fun about these cop cars is like when it's going 80, I can go to 100 still. Like with the van, if I'm going 80, I'm holding on white
Sure.
knuckled on the steering wheel, hoping that I won't die because it's maxed out and it's wobbling all over the place, and I'm hoping the wheels don't
Yeah.
fall out from under it. With this one, if I'm at 80, I can just say, "Can I have a little bit more?" And it's like, "How much more do you want? Let's go 100. How about 120?" And that's kind of neat. But
It becomes the opposite of Rick and Pawn Stars. Hey, I wanna go 90. I can do 120. Let's go.
yeah, exactly. But anyway, so yeah, that's where it's been. Are we still in here? Shit, did I leave this? Hopefully they've been hard of hearing us. Well, we're just bullshitting at this point. Anyway, so right on. We're back on track and we'll be here next week, I imagine. And
Yes,
if you got
sir.
fun questions, let us know. Otherwise, what's next for you got we don't have the set up for next year, do we? Do we have them?
No, I have to get you the dates and written on something, making sure they all right. Um, so yeah, next date is the 19th of January, March. 19th of March at Recoil. I just stopped there today in Monroe, and I shot like 3 videos there. So this weekend I'm posting up not only Recoil, but the next 3 events. Sadly, Union Hill Gun Club had a fire, and they might not be open until summer. So when they open up, I'm going to try to direct people to it, because I even asked them, I'm like, well, can people buy stuff from the gun store? And they're like, ah, dude, it's closed. Stuff is closed down. Nothing is open. I was like, well, what about your merch? Like, they sell T-shirts and hats. And I figure if they can at least
Sell
bring
that
some funds
online or
in.
something.
Yeah, and they were like, "Yeah, but everything, their whole product line, everything is inside the building, and something happened in their mechanical room, and it's just smoke got into everything, that burning smell, so it's in every product. You know what I mean? So
That's
t-shirts,
super
hats, all that
frustrating.
stuff. Yeah, because I'm like, look, I want to help. I mean, obviously, you guys were there for me, of course, hosting diversity shoots, but again, it's a Second Amendment business because every gun shop ain't. that open with helping us out, slash range, and they were. But so anyway, when they open up, I'll be, what do people call it? I'll be shilling for the people that actually allow us to have events at their venue for free, take up their classroom and their range space. So yeah, I'll be shilling for them, and just asking regular people to, if you can buy stuff online to support them, that'll be great. And take a class there or whatever. So that's what I'll be doing when they open back up and can benefit from it. But yeah, I'll be talking to you guys. But the next event is at Recoil Range in Monroe, New Jersey. I stopped by there today, and because they're in the same town as Union Hill Gun Club, they are really busy, because they're picking up the slack of the people that would go to that gun store. So of course, me being me and knowing them, I was like, "So, burn any ranges down lately?"
Check your smoke detector batteries.
Yeah, yeah. Da-da-da. And actually, they had another range that was local, that they closed down because of their air ventilation system, and they had something going on. And I was like, "Hey, man, all I'm saying is all your competition all of a sudden has to close down." That's all I'm saying. I'm not making an
Well,
accusation.
I'm out here in Arizona, and I live. Well, it used to be I lived where there wasn't even a traffic light between me and the desert. Now there's like 5, I think, between me and the actual desert. But I'm pretty close
Wow.
to the edge of town still. So for me, it's always just been book out to the desert somewhere, which is the equivalent of going to the forest or something for people, and
Hmm.
going shooting that way. Just setting something up and shooting at it. But there are indoor ranges. There's a couple of them in town. A friend of mine got a 357, 38 the other day. Kind of like the
Nice.
one on the screen, but not. Anyway, yeah, he had some money burning a hole in his pocket. We went to a gun show and he bought one. And of course, then he wanted to go shoot it, right? So we went to an indoor range. And for logistical reasons, I guess it just wasn't worth driving all the way out to the desert type of thing from where he lives and that kind of thing. So we went to this indoor range, $100, $30 a person to shoot at the
Hmm.
indoor range without target. That was 2 targets and 3 ears. So I'm guessing $2 or $3 for all that. But yeah, something like 30 something bucks and a couple of taxes or whatever for 3 people to shoot indoors. And it's just been a while since I've um, done that, so yeah, it's a lot of, what's the word,
Yeah.
income to lose for however many months. And then, yeah, that's a lot of people that have to uproot and then get accustomed to whatever. I go on Tuesdays. Well, we're doing something at this range on Tuesdays, so now you have to move to Wednesdays and that.
So I mean, look, the guys are great. I can't wait for them to open back up. Kind of sucks that they had to shut down. I'll be there for them when they open up, and I'll push it. And if people can help, great, regardless of where you are. So, and plus, it'll probably look kind of cool, to the range that, hey, where are we getting stuff from freaking Ohio? Like, why are we mailing T-shirts to Ohio? This is Yale Gun Club. That's because, again, gun people are the coolest people, and maybe they'll help you out because you support the
Well, we're all
sector.
capitalists too, and that's the thing. It doesn't take much. You got to buy a shirt anyway. I mean, probably most people
Yeah.
don't need one, but you're gonna buy a shirt anyway, I should say, at some point. So yeah, buying it with somebody's name on it to pay a couple of bucks to flex that capitalist muscle, totally worth it.
Yeah. Why the fuck not? But yeah, appreciate. Oh, by the way, so gun guy at work, my supervisor's wife passed away suddenly, from cancer last year, and 4 decades, 5 decades with the same woman, it hit him hard, and he was just going through the motions. So I invited him to a diversity shoot. And his son had been talking to him about, getting into shooting guns again. He didn't know where a range is. You live in Jersey. It's not that culture. So I was like, hey, I have ranges that I do. I mean, it's 4 ranges in the state. You can find one that you like. I was like, come on out to our event, hang out, talk to people, meet a new group of friends. Because the sad part, if you're not older or whatever, or married for a while, you realize your wife and your friends become the same friend group. And because she passed so suddenly, the friends and everybody they had in common, every time he would see him, it would just bring him right back to recently losing his wife. He was not getting a chance to work his way through it. It was always somebody bringing him back. So I invited him to say, hey, come out to my event. You can make a new group of friends. You can pick up a new hobby. You can get into some stuff you hadn't got into before, but you got the time now. Come on out. So anyway, he bought a 1911. I told you that one from one gun shop. Well, he goes to the gun shop to. He said, Tony, what should I get next? I was like, a Glock. I was like, get a Glock. Like that's the next move for somebody that buys a 1911. You know the type of person he is.
Hmm.
Get a Glock. So he gives them the money, puts the money down for the Glock, and they were like, oh, we don't know when we'll get one in, but we'll keep your name on the list, and when we get it in, we'll call you. Well, we go to We Shoot, and it's in the counter. It's like right there. They got Glock 19 Gen 6 or Glock 17 Gen 6. He goes, can I buy one? Because I told him, hey, when you go to a gun shop, you know, you spend some money there, you pick up on it, you become friends with the people, but spend money. They're not there to just hang out. They're there to make money. Yo, tell me why he didn't reach across the counter and just buy one. Because he had the pistol purchase permit. He was like, here. He dropped like, again, Jersey prices, $700 on it. That's how much a Glock costs, about $750 here in Jersey. I don't know how much they cost elsewhere, but we know we
Well,
pay
but that's
extra.
almost like what we were saying before. Like Glock can be a lot of things. There's $350 Glocks that are old and trade-ins or something, and
Hmm.
then there's like say
Well,
fancy blah blah blah
yeah,
trigger Glocks.
yeah, this is the brand new Glock that just came out, but he bought it, called the
It's
gun
probably
shop.
six something in a regular store. So
Yeah, it's Jersey. You get what you get. That's what happens to us here. But anyway, I thought it was a great intro to the gun store. He met the owner of the gun store, uh, and my boss is Latino, and one of my volunteers is Hispanic too. And they were just talking back and forth in Spanish. And then here comes the gun shop owner. As he walks past him, he just jumps in their conversation in Spanish, says something, and then just walks off. And so the next day I'm at work, and the boss is like, yo, man, he was really nice. He was a cool dude. He really made me feel welcome there. I appreciate it. And he was like, and then I was surprised he spoke Spanish. I was like, bro. And then I took some pictures of him, and the range took pictures, and they had a really good picture of him shooting the gun for the first time in a long time. And I sent it to him so he can send it to his son and family and show him, I'm having a good time. I'm good. So I'm happy for it. It made me feel good to make him happy, or at least give him a distraction for a little while that he can do something he enjoyed and doesn't have to worry about some friend from somewhere showing up and asking him how's it going.
just giving you something, like you say, some relaxation that's in a different group,
A
right?
different,
Circle.
yeah, different friend group, man. Different friend group. Nothing horrible about your friends, but
I
it's
mean,
like,
it's no
bro, I gotta get
different
away.
than at a golf course, right? Like, my wife used
Yeah.
to go to this golf course. I'm just going to play golf someplace else.
Yep.
And maybe
Same.
it's putt-putt golf or something, or maybe it's 9-hole. I don't know golf, but whatever, right? It's just
Yeah.
someplace
Yeah.
else.
Don't try to have this conversation. Neither one is equipped to have.
Yeah. Golf clubs. Golf clubs.
Yeah, like everyone's talking about the Olympics, and I heard somebody called it ice soccer, and I'm like, yep, that's me. That's me in the American mentality. It's ice soccer, bro. I know nothing about it. I'm glad America won. Ice soccer.
I think let's leave it at that. So thanks
Yep.
everybody for joining us, and we'll be back in a week.
Peace.
Shit. Ninja? Ninja! Ninja!